it is going to be 4-0 for the home teams.
So Kansas City, Detroit, Philadelphia, Buffalo.
Yep.
I do too.
Yep. I think Buffalo is going to – I think Baltimore's a better team, but I think it is going to come down to the conditions. You heard Furman talk about this is going to be the coldest game that Lamar has ever played in. And if not now, and I guess you could say this for both quarterbacks, but Buffalo does have home field here. I mean, Josh Allen is playing – Lamar's had these type of seasons before, and Josh has been really, really good. But Josh is playing out of his mind. And, who the MVP is, I mean, you can make the debate between one of these two guys, and I guess you could throw Saquon in the mix, another guy that's playing this weekend. But if Buffalo doesn't win this game at home this weekend, I just don't know when they have another chance. We had thought the window had closed with a lot of the departures from Buffalo.
I did too.
Yeah.
When Stephon Diggs and them started leaving, I thought it was over with. So is Baltimore the best road chance to win? The two Saturday
road
games.
Chances, I would go, and I would take it back from the far window. I would say Baltimore Sunday night, Rams, Commanders, Texans.
Okay, I think I would too.
Yeah, I mean, the Baltimore-Buffalo really is a coin flip. I mean, I cannot wait, and that's what sucks, because I think the Rams are going to lose, and I'm going to be in a terrible mood, and I'm not going to want to watch that game. But it's going to be a terrific game.
All right, basketball happening tomorrow.
Oh, you want one of my teasers real quick?
Yes.
Would you take the Chiefs plus 1.5, the Lions at a pick, and then Buffalo plus 11 at home?
Okay, so give that to me again. Here we go.
So Chiefs plus 1.5 at home. Detroit at a pick at home against a rookie quarterback in the Commanders.
Okay.
And then you get Buffalo plus 11 at home.
Yeah, I mean,
so does that seem easy?
Yeah, so that tells me either the Lions or the Chiefs are going to lose the game outright.
I don't think so. A lot of local bookmakers don't like the 3-team 10-point tees in the NFL. Some of them don't even take them.
Yeah, I could see that. That doesn't seem fair. Seems like it should be 6 points instead of that.
I mean, I don't think the Rams match up well. I think the Rams plus 16 probably pretty good play, right?
I mean, plus 16 in the NFL with anybody.
That's
seems like a good play.
lot of points.
And if I'm getting 11 with Buffalo, that's why I'm telling you the pick one. When you get to a teaser, you get to the pick. That's when you start looking.
Well, you play both sides.
Yeah,
I feel good about Baltimore plus 9.
Yeah, that's when you start looking at I see where the upset could happen now. It could be Washington beating Detroit. Detroit having some problems.
Oh, when I used to play in the suicide pools, and it didn't matter. I lost week 1 this year because I had who did Cincinnati lose to week 1? Was somebody terrible? New England.
It was New England Patriots, because we all thought the Patriots were going to. They did suck.
But that's one of I try to give people advice on the suicide pools. Like, if you're teasing down the 10 points and it looks like there's no chance this team can lose, that's the team that typically loses.
It's there in writing.
Yeah.
All right. We talked earlier with Furman about the games coming up tomorrow. Luganville was on the show as well to talk about the national championship. Remember your slate tomorrow of games you need to watch. Alabama at Kentucky, 11 a.m. on ESPN. Auburn and Georgia, 12 o'clock on the SEC Network. Taylor and I will be live on our video platform right at the conclusion of the Auburn-Georgia game with instant reaction to those two morning early games. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LT told you earlier, it's the most expensive get-in ticket in college basketball tomorrow, about $140-something a ticket just to get in to the hump to watch Ole Miss and Mississippi State. And sneaky good Big Ten game, Purdue-Oregon, 2 o'clock on NBC, leading into your football, which starts at 3:30, ESPN tomorrow with Houston and Kansas City. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget, new Bama and Bourbon is out. Bama and Bourbon getting you into the weekend as well. All the latest in Bama football news and Bama basketball with Aaron Suttles and LT. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Here we go, rolling live now on a Monday show. If you have those little calendars, it is jam-packed with things on this day. We remember Martin Luther King Jr. on the national holiday today, a national day of works to get out and help your community. It is Inauguration Day, the second inauguration of President Donald Trump. That's going on today in D.C. And, oh, by the way, the national championship in college football happening tonight. We'll get to that game coming up. We'll get to what we saw in the NFL, which was a crazy weekend of great NFL football, some heartbreaking losses. But we start with basketball, where Alabama goes on the road and wins at Kentucky. A win at Rupp Arena. Their first win over a ranked Kentucky team in Rupp since 2002. And I'll just start off by saying this. After the downs of the Ole Miss loss last week and how that was the most uncharacteristic-looking loss I'd seen under Nate Oates, this looked like the Alabama team everyone was expecting all year long, Lance. That was a A-plus performance from Alabama.
Well, look, a good Ole Miss team, obviously they lose in overtime in Starkville. But, we talked about the fact when you looked at the week, if you would have said, hey, you split these games, whatever way it was going to be fine. So you lose at home to Ole Miss, a double-digit favorite, but you win on the road in Lexington as an underdog to Kentucky. This Alabama team, to hit 13 threes, to score 102 points, and that was just a fun game, man. That was back and forth, really good environment. I know after the game, Nate Oates, credited Mark Pope and what he's got building and Kentucky fans and talking about, he's such a basketball junkie, loves playing in those kind of environments. But 5 Bama players in double figures, that was a big-time win.
It was. I think this tells you everything you need to know about this Alabama team. Like, to get embarrassed and to get slapped very publicly on your own home court. That was one of the biggest stories in the nation Tuesday night. Like, Ole Miss went to Alabama and beat number 4 Alabama.
Yeah, but not just winning the game, how they beat them.
How they beat them. And Alabama was embarrassed. Like, Alabama couldn't play their game at home against Ole Miss. Not again, with all due respect to Chris Beard. They're not saying Alabama couldn't do it against Kentucky or couldn't do it against Duke or couldn't do it against North Carolina. They couldn't do it against Ole Miss. That is embarrassing. Now, that's only if you're judging book by cover. This is a really good Ole Miss team. To rebound from that and go to one of the most difficult places historically to play in all of college basketball and score 102 points. I can't figure out how they scored 67 against Ole Miss and 102 at Kentucky.
Well, to LT's point, they made 13 threes. They shot 34 threes. They only shot 47 shots. Period.
I know.
Any kind of shots against Ole Miss.
It's just crazy, the differences.
And you guys remember a day under Anthony Grant and maybe even, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting? Avery Johnson. They couldn't hit free throws.
Yeah.
To go into Kentucky, shoot. Who has shot 34 free throws in Rupp before?
Yeah. Only if Kentucky shot 44.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
And to make 29 of the 34.
Yeah. The Kentucky media was talking about that afterwards, by the way, that Wait. How did they shoot 10 more free throws than we did?
In Rupp Arena?
The questionable calls definitely went Kentucky's way still.
Yeah.
That one foul, and you saw Billis how do you call a foul there?
I love this version of Billis, by the way. He's always been very good.
He doesn't give a shit.
He does. He's just like, I don't know how you call that a foul.
We'll get to this later, but it's Troy Aikman. Aikman's the same way in the NFL. Yeah. He does not mind calling out the league and the officials.
The Mahomes call?
Yeah, we'll get to that. I know, but
that was a joke.
But you're right. But
jokes.
That is the way Billis is. Billis will, and he's not killing the officials. He's killing the rule makers.
Yeah.
He's like, they're just calling what they're told to call, and these are awful calls.
Yeah. Well, like they called a foul in the Auburn game, more on the Auburn game in a second. They called a foul in the Auburn game where there was actually no contact.
Yeah.
They said he was too close. He was inside the zone or whatever.
I know.
I'm like, what?
Well, I think that was the same one that was on Sears, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was the same thing. There was no contact.
So there's got to be contact for a foul. I'm sorry. I'm old school.
So now we're asking, with all due respect, age-wise, 50-plus-year-old guys that are going town to town, thousands of miles a night, every single night of the week.
Running faster than they ever run.
Running faster than they've ever run. We're asking them now to judge, are they too close? Not did they touch, but are they too close? That's a ridiculous ask of these officials.
Well, what we're hearing, though, about this Alabama bounce-back win at Rupp Arena is this, that it was gut check time. And how would this team respond? They respond with a win. Here's Nate Oates after the win at Kentucky, 102-97.
part of me almost thinks some of these guys like going on the road, seeing the place didn't empty till about 10 seconds to go. So it's not like it emptied super early, but I almost think some guys like real competitors sometimes like going in a little bit more hostile environment and kind of coming out with a big win that nobody expected. I mean, after the way we played Tuesday, I don't think anybody expected us to play this well, but our guys did. You know, I told them we're going in there. I told them that after the game Tuesday, after Ole Miss, I told them that when we met Thursday, like we are going in there and we are getting a win by any means necessary. If you're not planning on getting a win, just pack your bag because you ain't coming back on that plane.
Yeah, we're going to get the win.
Well,
by
I think
necessary.
Vegas almost expected. I mean, they were only a 2-point underdog, so it's not like
is what I saw.
It's not like it was completely out of whack that Alabama was going to win this game. Back to the fouls, though. When you do have 5 Kentucky players, 2 foul out, 4 have 5 or 5 have 4+ fouls. I mean, you typically just don't see that.
But then you've got Alabama's leading scorer playing with 4 fouls. I mean, it was. I guess this is a storyline for this Alabama team. I feel like they face this a lot, right? Where we saw it at Texas A&M.
Yep.
Maybe it's just the way college basketball is being officiated now. I don't know, but if there is a team in America that could handle this, it's Alabama. I mean, they got depth on depth on depth.
Yeah.
Deep and athletic.
Yeah. And like if I was going to represent one of these players moving forward, LeBaron Philon is the guy.
Oh,
I mean, he is going to be incredible. But for this team to win a championship, obviously Sears has got to be himself. Like Youngblood, a couple of huge threes down the stretch off the bench. But really, Grant Nelson, to me, you saw how good he was against North Carolina last year in the tournament, how good he was in the first half, and really for the entirety of the game on Saturday. I think Grant Nelson has got to be that type of a player for Alabama to take it to the next level.
We keep talking about it on our podcast. Mark Sears obviously is Mark Sears. He's the leader of this team. But Grant Nelson is the glue to me because he can shoot the ball to the 3. He can play physical in the paint. He can drive the lane. He's great defensively. He's long on rebounds. He is the glue that holds the whole team together. I really believe that.
I would say this about Philon, though, just small things, right? But I think there's 50-some-odd seconds to go, and they've got numbers, and he's got the breakaway. And the young player, rather than get an easy basket or alley-oop or something like that, dribbles it out and burns clock.
Yep.
Then gets fouled and hits both free throws. I mean, that's veteran play right there. When you have the wherewithal to do the smart thing, which is let's don't take the easy 2, let's back out. Seconds are more important than points right now. But then you hit your free throws, right? I mean, that says a lot about Philon in a critical situation.
True freshman, I think they list him at 6'4". If he's to grow a couple of inches, which I think he could, if he gets to 6'6", 6'7", wow.
Well, I
mean, he's still going to play next level. It doesn't matter. He will still be a very, very good 6'4" guard. But if he gets 6'6", 6'7",
watch out.
Yeah.
So Alabama wins that game. They now have Vandy on Tuesday and then LSU on Saturday, both those home games.
Vandy coming off a win over Tennessee.
That's right. Vandy upset Tennessee. We've got the AP poll that'll drop later today. We'll see if Alabama drops after their loss to Ole Miss. Back to Philon for a second. When he scored that three-pointer with 59 seconds to go in the first half, that was his first field goal. He had none in the first half or second half against Ole Miss, and to the 59-second mark of the first half, that was his first field goal in that length of time. It was good to finally wake him up there in the second half. On Auburn's win on the road against ranked Georgia, and what's ahead for them after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. One of them, our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, make the phone call that I made decades ago, 205-969-8100. Very important. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. They are going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. I had the 2200 vision, wore contacts for a decade. I was wasting money each and every year on the contacts solution. You're probably doing the same. Stop procrastinating. Make the phone call that I made. I've still got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
You can go catch the latest edition of the basketball show. It is out now on our YouTube channels and other video platforms. Little T and I talk about the weekend and ask the question, has the game passed John Calipari by? That and a lot more on the basketball show. Auburn wins at Georgia, nationally ranked Georgia, 70-68. No Johni Broome again. Maybe he's back this week against Tennessee. Tahad Pettiford, 24 points in 22 minutes at Georgia, and he was the offense they needed.
Yeah, that's hard to do, man, to have 24 and 22. But he is instant offense, and he seems to be getting better and better. 5 of 7 behind the arc, and Auburn needed those points. Man, I have never seen a crazier sequence because I was actually at our friends at Odie's watching this game, and it was so crowded I kind of had my back, so I had to look over my shoulder. And when they got up, like it was like 9 with 50 seconds, I was like, this thing's over. And then I continued to have to continue to turn around. That final sequence, though.
It was wild. I was watching with my wife, and I was explaining to her, she's like, why is he going to try to miss this free throw? And I was explaining to her, he's got to hit the first one first. That's going to be, equally as difficult.
That is the most difficult sequence in maybe all of sports, to make the first free throw, miss it, and be able to get it back for the tip.
So, and I was explaining to her, I said, not only does he have to miss it, it's got to hit the rim. I mean, this is really, really difficult to do. And then it goes out of bounds, and I'm like, well, Auburn caught a break, and then somehow they got 0.3 of a second on the clock. I just don't think that adds up, honestly. But
it seems like It seems like they had 3 chances with a second left.
I know. I don't know how they did.
Georgia had 3 chances. Yeah. And by the way, that last shot.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
If it had gone in, it would have counted. If you're looking at the light.
Yeah. Oh, look, the way Mike White diagrammed that thing up. I mean, I thought the 3 from the corner was going in on the steal.
Yeah. And that would have been a walk-off.
Yeah. And then I had to explain to my wife. I was like, okay, now there's 0.3 of a second. They can't catch it and shoot it. They just got to tip it. And she's like, basketball has way too many rules. Yeah. What is going on here?
But don't you think that sequence is difficult? Is somebody throwing a perfect game?
Yes. To miss a free throw.
Yes.
And then to have a tip off an inbound. Both those, to miss a free throw, get possession, and have a tip off an inbound in the same trip down.
But by the way,
that's impossible to do, and Georgia didn't do it.
It is also impossible, and hear me clearly, it is impossible where there's 0.6 seconds left in the game, and the ball gets touched by somebody and has to land out of bounds.
That's what I'm saying.
For that to only take 0.3
There's
seconds.
No way.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
That's manipulating time.
And I'm not even sure there was a foul on Denver Jones to begin with. Yeah. I think the whole thing that started that sequence didn't even exist.
The clock running there at the end was asinine. They kept going to the monitor, and I was like, there's no way you can – this is not the Matrix. He can't touch the ball. Nobody can touch. I don't care who he's out on with 0.6 seconds, and it land out of bounds – and it still be 0.3 seconds. No, it can't happen that fast.
That's what I'm saying. The physics didn't work.
You can't speed it up that fast.
I think we all agree now, winning in Athens at Stegman, I mean, that's difficult to do. They're a different team when they're playing at home. And, I thought this number would go off 4.5 to 5.5. It went off 5.5, 6. I know Furman said it was going to be closer to double digits. But, I wonder what Chaney Johnson you're going to get. Because you go back against Mississippi State, and we were like, damn, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, the numbers were the same.
I mean, 17, 8, and 4. He was 7 of 10 from the field against Mississippi State. And, boy, this was look, if you can just meet in the middle somewhere, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, I think what you're saying is these 2 games would have been exactly the same with Johni Broome playing. Is that what you're saying? State would have been.
Mississippi State would have been. I mean, this might have been I don't see Johni Broome going 1-9 and
well, probably not.
This game was the first time I thought Auburn missed Johni Broome.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. But they found a way to win. So, at the end of the year, nobody cares you won 70-68.
And here's Mike White on what he saw from this Auburn team without Johni Broome.
Had our chances down the stretch. Credit Auburn. I mean, without Johni Broome, they're still a very, very good team. Really good. They executed well. I thought Pettiford was terrific. Baker Mazzara hit a couple dagger threes where I thought we did a decent job. He's just, he's a good player. That's part of it. Just discouraging because you only get a chance to compete against number 1 every so often, and you're right there. Feel for our guys because guys play really, really hard, but so did Auburn.
Yeah, that number one thing beside your name.
Yeah,
you hear you only get to compete against number 1 so often. It does amp up the other team you're playing.
Oh, there's no doubt. Auburn's got a massive target on their back, and so far they have dealt well with that. Now, listen, these road games have been tough. Even with Broome, that South Carolina game was in danger, and it stayed in danger without Broome all the way to the end. This game wasn't as close to being in danger, but Auburn never could really distance themselves from Georgia. Georgia just kept hanging in there. It was just difficult for Auburn to put that game away. I don't know if Little T came up with the nickname Primetime Pettiford or if somebody else did, but that's what the guy is. It's just like every time there's a big moment for Auburn, it's Todd Pettiford that is having a big game.
I think she has it trademarked on the
Good.
basketball show.
Good. Primetime Pettiford.
Yep.
I mean, that's who he is. You look at the big games they play, and that guy shows up.
All right, that's basketball. Auburn, no midweek game. They host College Game Day on Saturday. They host Tennessee on Saturday. So morning for game day. Little T will be there covering it for our platform, and then a night game at 7:30 for that contest. By the way, going into the weekend, Joe Lunardi's bracketology had, no surprise, Auburn is the number 1 overall seed.
They should be.
In the country. Before Tennessee lost to Vandy, they were the number 1. They were a number 1 seed as well. So the SEC had 2 1s and 3 2s of the 8 slots at the top of the brackets. The SEC had 5 of the 8. More basketball coming up later in the show, yes.
Do you think we'll see Broome against Tennessee?
I think it's a possibility.
That'd be fantastic if he only misses 2 games and you win both of them. And I don't know which of when we started talking about, okay, here's this stretch of games, I think a lot of people pointed at this Tennessee game, but boy, this Tennessee team, I don't know what you get night in, night out.
Before Brownie tells us about the golfers, I want to remind you of our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. 16 locations. Find the location nearest you, guys. Stay on top of your health here in 2025. They treat all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, anything you need. In the nether regions, they'll make sure that you're 100% healthy all the time. If not, they know how to treat that. Get an appointment today or get more details, 205-930-0920, 930-0920, or visit urologycentersalabama.com to schedule your appointment. What a great day on this day off for some people to head to the golf.
That's right. I was talking to some of my golf buddies this weekend. They were fired up that they actually got to get out Saturday, and everybody was like, I got to do it Saturday because I'm sure not doing it next week. You can step outside today and see why. Not at the golf office. It is always 70 degrees inside the golf office. No wind, no rain, no elements you have to deal with. It is Birmingham's best golf simulators. Courses you know and love, you've seen on TV, you've always wanted to play. You can play them at the golf office. Great time to get out of the office for those boring meetings. Make it a fun meeting at the golf office. Couple showers. Go watch the game. Parties up to 50. You bring your own food, bring your own drink, bring your own clubs, and have fun at the golf office. See more of what I'm talking about. Book a bay or find out where you can find the golf office. Highway 31 in Vestavia, Van Road just off Highway 11 in Trussville, coming soon to Highway 280. Get out of the office. Get in the golf office. thegolfoffice.com.
All right, to the National Football League, we're down to the Final Four. Commanders and Eagles, Bills and Chiefs here, and the games we saw this weekend were fascinating, especially on Sunday with snow as the backdrop. We'll work in the order of pain. Tough loss for the Rams. You said earlier this one will stick with you. A couple of times I thought that game was over with, and then there at the end, as Darius Slay said, this is his quote. He's the Eagles DB, if you don't know, former teammate of Matt Stafford. At the end, he was still out there slinging that MFer around. He didn't say MFer. Ball in hand at the end. You said this one will sting for a while.
This is the most difficult I've taken a loss.
Really?
In the history. Yeah, I go back to 2003. There was a divisional game against Carolina where I thought the Rams probably were still the best team in the NFC, where Steve Smith walked it off in overtime, and then they go to Seattle. They win that game, and they play the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And then Super Bowl 36, where they ended up losing to the Patriots 20-17. But, you know, I got double left because I had the Eagles -6.5. And I had people telling me all weekend, man, you're crazy. The Rams are the better team. And I said, they just don't match up well. And I think weather's going to be a factor. And by the way, if it didn't snow, the Rams win that game.
I think so, too.
Yeah. I do think the Rams were the better team. I mean, the fact of the matter, 184 of Philadelphia's 350 yards were in 3 plays. Look, and that's on the Rams.
You got to tackle Saquon at some point.
Yeah, but boy, I mean, you take one of those plays away, the Rams win. It just
well, they kept seeing on the broadcast that their defense, they're not. They learned from the first time. They're not going to do this again and let Saquon. But then Hurts had the big run. Then Saquon had 2 of them. It was almost like
44 from Hurts, 62 and 78 from Saquon.
It seems like they kept getting sucked back into being almost too aggressive defensively and not making Jalen Hurts march it down the field. Did you get that feeling? What was
yeah. I
happening
mean,
there?
some of the calls, like there was a 3rd and 14 from the end zone where they ran the screen, and it was perfect because the Rams were blitzing on that particular run. It's crazy because on those runs, it's not like you broke any tackles.
No, that's just it.
Yeah, on any of the 3 runs. And if you take those away, it's a complete blowout from the Rams. Like Jalen Hurts, I mean, congratulations, they've gotten to this point. Jalen Hurts, the way he's playing, cannot win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and now he's hurt.
Yeah.
And they're playing a red-hot football team in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I thought Stafford was so good, and he had multiple drops, and then the interior offensive line on that 3rd and 4th downs to end the game just completely let them down. Because the Jalen Carter sack, if you watch it underneath, there were multiple guys open. And, at that point, when Puka made the grab, I was like, oh, damn, are the Rams going to score too quick?
Yeah.
Like, and leave time on for possibly a Jake Elliott crazy field goal. And at that particular time, I mean, it's not like Jalen Hurts was going to complete a pass. That was just, man, that was a really, 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 really difficult game.
Your coach is so good. And I agree with Collinsworth. The one mistake he made was not staying no huddle right there.
I know. He said, is this the code? And, I don't know if it was or not. And, I mean, look, turnovers were the key. Look, at Houston, Kansas City, there were 0 turnovers in that game. Detroit -5, that's why they lost. Rams -2, why they lost. And the Ravens -3, why they lost.
Yeah. But LT, I mean, you got Matt Stafford, and I know McVay's the brilliant play caller and offensive mind, but you've coached up Stafford. I think it's 2nd and 7.
This is after Kupp caught the ball and slid out of bounds.
Yeah, and he slid out of bounds.
Yep.
But
stopped the clock.
You could even see Stafford turn to him because they didn't want them to substitute, and then he's rushing. You get the guy to start the guard that jumped early.
Kevin
that
Dotson.
allowed them to substitute, and that seemed like where it changed because they had no pass rush.
No, they were dead.
Point.
Their defensive front was gassed.
But, on that next play,
just let Stafford call the plays at that point?
I don't know. And they have done that before. But it was, 2nd and 7, and then they complete one to Puka to make it like 3rd and 2. Yeah, there's the 3rd and 2. They're showing it right now. Jalen Carter right up the gut.
And that was a rookie center.
Yeah, your center just,
it's Bo Limmer, the kid out of Arkansas.
But it's going to happen.
It's also on Kevin Dotson.
Yeah.
Kevin Dotson went to double on the end, and so it's on both of those guys.
Yeah, miscommunication.
Yeah, and Philadelphia is confusing you, too. I mean, that's good coaching by Philadelphia. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough loss, man. Almost.
Hey, and I'll tell you that final play.
Yeah, what's he doing there? I mean, people are saying Stafford threw it away. I know he didn't throw it away. He knew it was 4th down.
No, but that's probably a roughing the passer if it's Pat Mahomes.
Oh, that's. I mean,
no, seriously.
No, he touched him, so it would have been if it's against Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, insanity.
Yeah.
So the Rams are out. Eagles advance. They get the host. That was what was crazy. If the Rams win, they were going to host.
So, like Saturday night, and so I ended up being 2-2 over the weekend on the NFL plays. But Saturday night, I had the lines. I gave them out because I didn't think there was any way. Now, -5, if you would have told me in turnovers, then, they can lose the game that way. But I was pulling for Detroit in an absolute blowout until it got close. And then I was like, okay, so if Washington can win, what are the chances that 2 touchdown dogs are going to win in the NFC? But now the Rams can host.
That's right.
And like I said it all weekend, I was like, if the Rams can somehow beat the Eagles, they're going to beat the Commanders, and they're going to be back in the Super Bowl. And that was what was really frustrating about the loss.
Oh, I'm sure.
I agree. But then that Washington-Detroit game, I felt like Jared Goff played most of that game concussed.
Well, hey, look, do you think that's called on Mahomes?
Anything's called on Mahomes.
Dude, I can't believe that wasn't called. And look, they still would have had the ball, but it would have been, first down from like the 20? Instead of the pick 6.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching when he first came back in because I was thinking the same thing. I was like, did he really get cleared to come back in this game, or did he just come back in this game? But that first possession he came back in, he looked okay. So I kind of blew it off. But then the rest of the game, I started to wonder again.
His decision-making was foggy.
Yeah, for the rest of the game. That first possession, he looked okay. And I was like, I guess he is all right then. But then you're right. The rest of the game, I did wonder about it. But, I mean, the best quarterback in that game won the game. That kid is absolutely spectacular. I had no idea he'd be this good.
Yeah, the one he dropped on the, I guess it went down to a 1st and goal.
Where the guy's eyes are covered, and the only way he catches the ball is the ball hits him right in the hands. He can't even see it.
Yep.
I mean, that baffles me.
I don't think they can close the deal, but I'm pulling for them because that's the only team I can, outside of Dan Quinn wearing his hat backwards, that's the only team I can stomach right now.
At this point, I wouldn't turn it around if I were him.
Because I said, I hate Josh Allen, but I hate the Chiefs a little bit more.
Washington and Philadelphia, the early game on Sunday. Buffalo and Kansas City, the late game. We talked about the Mahomes calls several times. Cut 5, Tyler, if you will. A couple of Alabama guys here. Will Anderson, who played the game, D'Amico Ryans, who coached it. If you watch the game, Troy Aikman was disgusted by some of the calls. The referee, I forget which one they have in the booth, saying that's not a foul. Both times it was the white hat behind the play, not anyone else who had eyes on the actual play, but the white hat who threw the flag. They made it sound like in the broadcast that both of those calls could have been overturned on replay. They weren't overturned. They protected Patrick Mahomes here, and the Texans, Anderson and Ryans, had this to say after the game.
We knew it was going to be us against the refs going into this game. And, I talked to you guys early this week. And I was just saying, man, we got to go out there and we got to do us better. And, in some instances we didn't do that, some instances we did.
We knew going into this game, man, it was us versus everybody. Right? When I say everybody, it's everybody, all of whatever. Everybody, the naysayers, the doubt, right? Everybody.
Boy, you wanted to say it.
He wanted to say
it so bad. I mean, Will Anderson just went ahead and said it.
Yeah.
D'Amico really wanted to say it, but didn't want to pay that fine.
It's true, but Kansas.
No, we're not saying Patrick Mahomes is not fantastic.
Yeah,
he is unbelievably good.
I mean, he's one of the greatest that's ever done it. Lock Hall of Famer, first ballot. I mean, as good as has ever been.
But the downside to him, and it happened on a play, they didn't call a foul, but he slows down right at the sidelines, and he's waiting to step out of bounds until somebody touches him, and then he flops down to the ground. That kind of stuff makes you unpopular. It makes you unlikable to watch, and I think it hurts your legacy.
Well, and Josh Allen, same way. I mean, Josh Allen bitches about calls more than anybody in the NFL.
Welcome.
Yeah,
I've told you guys this for years. And now Dunaway's over there pulling for him.
I was cheering for the Bills.
I've told you guys this for years about Josh Allen. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Well, look,
I appreciate you guys
I am ready
finally
to
joining
sweep Kansas City out of this thing, which Buffalo will this week.
Nope, not going to happen. I'm all on the Chiefs.
And then after that, let's just pray that Washington can pull a couple of upsets.
The Troy Aikman, who is the best analyst in the game, period. The best. He's never afraid to call out officiating. And he made the point. He's like, the NFL's got to change this. You cannot allow Patrick Mahomes to run around the way he runs around, and everybody's pursuing him, and then he slides at the last moment, and the defenders,
they didn't even touch him.
There's some grazing of his helmet, but there's no helmet. They actually hit each other.
Yeah, toe-to-toe. He basically targeted the other guy.
Yeah, they hit each other.
Because they were avoiding him. They both went high to avoid him.
Yeah, and you flag it, and to Aikman's point, you can't just let him run around like that and then call that on a slide at the last second.
He didn't really slide.
I agree.
He fell down.
I agree. It's
so frustrating.
The NFL's got to change that. That's why stuff like that has got to be reviewed and overturned. These games are too big and too meaningful.
Have to be able to do that.
For somebody in the booth not to say, whoa, let's stop the game. I think you guys missed that one.
Dunaway texted me and said, did that hurt you on that safety? And I was like, I got a bunch of texts because I shut it down after the blocked field goal. And I was like, okay, they're going to walk this off. Now, we gave it out officially 8.5. I talked to some people that got it at 8.5. I talked to some people that got it at 9. I think you got it at 9.
I got it at 9.
And some people got it at 9.5.
Boy, if you had it at 9.5.
Why would they take that safety, though?
Well,
You're
because
still up 2 possessions, though.
I know.
Well, a punt block results in a touchdown.
Yeah, then you get an onside kick.
Then you get an onside kick.
Yeah. I mean, it would take 3 miraculous plays happening in a
but
row.
if you take the safety, none of those are on the table now.
Kansas City is just beyond frustrating.
Yeah.
Their time needs to be over.
But Kelsey is really good. He finds a space. He was dominant.
Well,
Mahomes made some plays.
He's like, we have this perception of the NBA. They don't start playing defense until the playoffs. Kelsey doesn't start playing until the playoffs now.
But he was good, over 100 yards, and KC wins. And then that game last night, Ravens and Bills, such an entertaining football game. But, again, I feel like if this was – I mean, everybody cheers for this in football now. I don't know why we want it in college football. Let's make the southern teams go up north, or let's play in these weathers where it's not even good for the teams that are good, that are from the north. It's just not the same football, but the Ravens were not the same in that icy, snowy condition as the Bills were. The Bills win the game, and poor Mark Andrews.
Oh, I mean, look, the fumble before and then the drop 2-point conversion. And I am seeing this guy get crushed. He has had an incredible career.
He has.
That
was his second fumble in his career, Lance.
I know.
And
that was just a great play.
It was. Open field punch, and he hits it right on the ball on a cold, slippery day.
Look, he dropped the 2-point conversion. Wasn't the best throw in the world, but he makes that catch. I mean, I think Romo said it 999 times out of 1,000.
Didn't you feel like if Lamar had thrown it up here to where he could catch it and walk into the end zone, because when he threw it here, he was sort of falling back, and I felt like in his head he felt like he had to catch it and somehow fall forward to make sure he was in the pylon because it looked like he was going to come up short and maybe slide out of bounds. And it was going to be bang, bang.
He's thinking about footing. Yeah, even if he makes that catch, it is bang, bang. It's going to be a 2-point conversion. Game's going to go to overtime, but it's still a difficult play based on the placement of the ball.
But he throws it up here, he catches it, and he's able to catch it and step in.
Remind me of the playoff overtime rules. They change in the overtime.
I think it is both get a possession and then it's sudden death.
Yeah, so even if you score right away, the other team gets a possession.
The same way in the regular season. Now we brought the playoffs to the regular season.
Yeah, but if you score
no time,
if you score a touchdown,
it's over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the winner of that coin toss won the game then. Like even if they get that 2-point conversion, I think either team, the way that game was going to score on
Probably
their first
back to
possession.
the point you don't like though, and it burned the Rams. But I mean, this is why you get home field. You know, I said it last week. This is the one place they're going to have to play where the elements are going to come into play, and it killed the Rams. And you know, the Ravens should be a little more adjusted. But ultimately got them too.
Here's what I would say, and I don't know if this is the first time it's ever happened in NFL history, but there is a chance that this divisional or weekend, the 4 teams that led in yardage all lost the game.
Yeah. I mean, to your
that's
point,
crazy to think about, though.
The Ravens had 416 yards. The Bills had 273. They didn't have 300 yards of offense.
That's right. The Rams outgained Philadelphia. I mean, again, you don't wipe these because these plays counted, but you take away 2 Saquon runs, and Philadelphia did almost nothing on offense.
Yeah.
The Rams badly outgained Philadelphia. Now, a lot of that was because the Rams had to play with their hair on fire those last 2 possessions because they were behind. But still, they did it. Houston did everything to beat the Chiefs except beat them, outgained them, but they missed all those kicks and put themselves in a tough situation. And then Detroit outgained Washington. Now, Detroit, again, was playing from behind, and that helps this. But that is wild to think that all the 4 teams that led in yardage lost the game over the weekend.
Latest conspiracy theory, Johnston RV Center, before we take our first break here. Johnston RV, tell us about them as you get on the road in 2025.
I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV Center, and the calendar flipping to 2025 means 2024's got to get out of the way there, and that means you're going to get great deals. How about the Shasta 16RE, just $149 a month with approved credit? How about the Avenger 29 QBS, sleeps up to 10, $279 a month with approved credit. They've also got that lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned. You can see more at johnstonrvcenter.com. That is johnstonrvcenter.com.
What network was the Lions game on?
That was a Fox game.
It was Fox.
Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady.
In the entire time that Richard Deitch and did the work on this from The Athletic now, I believe. Do you know how many times Tom Brady said the name Ben Johnson in that broadcast?
So the conspiracy, okay, I won't step on that. He should have said it a lot. That is the offensive coordinator, and
they showed him a lot. Yeah, he did not say the name Ben Johnson one time in the broadcast because, according to reports, they believe Brady was afraid that somehow that would be ruled as tampering, and that he's going to be the next coach of the Raiders.
Okay, well that's a problem.
That is a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean this is stupid. This is the example they need to show. Like we've got a conflict here, and you can't do both of your jobs effectively at the highest level if you can't mention the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I never noticed that.
I didn't notice it either, and I watched that whole game.
And boy, that was a fun game.
It was.
Especially
The first
second
half.
quarter.
The first half was incredible in that game.
It was. So much good offense. But we'll see if Ben Johnson is the...
Do you guys believe the Commanders can win this whole thing?
I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I do.
I do, because of Jaden Daniels. You look at who's left. I mean, I know Mahomes and Allen, but he fits right in. He's the better quarterback in the NFC game.
Dan Quinn's an excellent defensive coach.
Yeah. They've got a disruptive defensive line. Josh Allen was back.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Allen was back there. I meant on that defensive line, former Alabama guy back from his injury.
Terry McLaurin's playing well at receiver.
McLaurin's playing well at receiver.
They run the ball well. They do everything well.
Eckler's really good at catching the ball out of the backfield.
It's a divisional game, which is tough. And I don't think Hurts is 100%. Yeah. I think Hurts was playing the last of that game hurt.
Yeah, I do think they'll have a lot of confidence going to Philadelphia to play that game. But I just
their kicker bothers me.
Yeah. In the Super Bowl, I just don't know if they were to get that far, if they can, their defense can hold up. Defense scares me.
I really went into the weekend thinking it was going to be Rams and Bills. And what was that game earlier this year in the Super Bowl?
44-42.
I really thought that's where we were headed going into the weekend.
Well, that's who I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
But I would have taken it.
That's where
I wanted to see the Chiefs.
Sorry for your loss, and we are down to Washington and Philadelphia, Buffalo and Kansas City in the Final Four for the NFL. When we come back, it is national championship time in college football. We'll turn the page to that and then get to our buddy Josh Pate, who will join us coming up at the top of the hour. The show being brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. If you're looking for the latest, greatest moment in Alabama football history, always look at DanielMooreArt.com. That includes the legend Nick Saban's painting right there. 6 national championships, a tribute to him. You can go get that now. All the other great prints every year in a calendar, and you can go back in history and pick out your favorites all online at DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the BJCC with customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall, sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there. Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, Trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
All right, national championship game tonight in college football. We'll get to that 6:30 on ESPN. Before, though, little Deadwood Brownie. LT and I were incorrect a little bit. I don't know if we understood exactly what we were saying there, but correct us on the NFL playoff overtime.
So each team does, first of all, it's 15 minutes, and they play till somebody wins. Obviously, there are no ties, but each team does get a possession in the playoff overtime, and then it's sudden death after that.
Even with a touchdown.
Yeah, that is the one change. I've never understood why they do it differently in the playoffs.
Yeah, help me out here because I'm just going back to the 2021 divisional game where
what changed it.
Okay, so it was Buffalo KC,
Yeah, that's what changed it.
Because when KC won the toss, it went right down. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they scored in seconds to send it to overtime.
Right.
And then
they do it differently in regular season because of the TV windows.
Yeah.
They're trying to get everything in a TV window. In the postseason, as you've seen, there's often gaps between the games that have to be filled with the studio crews just for that specific reason.
Before we get to the national championship, LT's going to tell us about Woodhouse. But Forrester, give me that Ashley Cook video. She's a country music star that really started on TikTok, which was down for about 18 hours, but it's okay, America. TikTok is back. Ashley Cook this is her this morning. She is one of the many artists that is singing the outdoor fan concert in Atlanta today. Sound check at 8 a.m. this morning.
Yuck.
How do you play when it's 17 degrees?
Well, I don't know how they
temperatures outside.
So the last time I remember something like this, we were in Indy for the Alabama-Georgia game. Was that 2021?
Yeah.
And I remember Doja Cat in like her, skimpy like spandex was out in the middle of whatever that Indianapolis square is, and it was like 17 degrees. And I'm like, how do you plan that? Like, there are indoor venues.
Yeah, I know.
Like have it indoor when you think, like, if you're in Miami, I get it.
Yeah. Don't you remember we got in that Uber and the Uber driver was like, I can't take you the way I want to take you because Doja the cat is playing a concert.
Yeah. But how do you pluck a guitar?
I don't know.
When it's 17 degrees outside. Tell us about Woodhouse.
Look, hey, it's a national championship, as these guys said. You want to watch the game, you can do that with friends. Send the wife or girlfriend to the Woodhouse Day Spa. Birmingham's best day spa, located right at the Summit Shopping Centers off of Highway 280. Choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatments, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Order that special person gift online 24/7. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. If you stop by the Summit Shopping Centers, tell Stuart and the great staff the Next Round sent you.
Jennifer and I used them recently. Woodhouse, beautiful place. Man.
It really
Great
is.
facility. Yeah, Jennifer and I both went and got a massage. Terrific.
Couples massage?
We did not. We went in separate rooms.
Yeah, Maggie and I prefer it that way, too.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm a moaner. By the way, before we get to the game tonight, President Biden and President-elect Donald Trump, for the next few hours, the transition of power is happening live in Washington, D.C., as it's Inauguration Day for Donald Trump, the 47th President of the United States. They're in the limo ride down to the inauguration site, and President Trump will be sworn in the next few moments, and then we'll have the 47th president with a free transition of power happening today up in the nation's capital. Always a proud day to be an American. That's why I wore my undercoat T-shirt today with the American flag on it. Support the troops and the American flag.
I do love the fact, I pointed this out. This is what I said before the show. You're like, I can't hear you. I already got my headphones in. I know that feeling. This is what I said before the show. All three of us have on, basically, he's got an LA hat. I got Dolphins. You got Bucks under there.
Yeah.
Three teams not in the playoffs anymore.
Three teams not in the playoffs.
Not playing football. Mine never were.
I didn't wear it more for the Bucks. I wore it for the American flag in the sleeve.
Okay, good.
That's why I wore it today.
Non-American colors.
Proud American as we roll on. All right, so tonight's the national championship. And I was talking to Forrester about this. Is it because there's no SEC team in it? The buzz for me tonight's a little. Is it because I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that Ohio State is going to win this game? Why is it just me personally? It seems like the buzz is down a little bit on this national championship game? Is it because it's inauguration day? Is it because it's an extended playoff? What's happening?
I think it's because the college games happen, and then we get this full NFL playoff weekend, and you almost forget college football's still going.
Yeah, I think it's because of the expanded playoff.
Yeah.
Definitely. If there is any, I don't think it has anything to do with the SEC. I think the inauguration, like there's a lot of people that are having inauguration parties.
Yeah.
I got invited to a couple, and I'm like, the national championships today.
Yeah. My party's a football game, my friend.
So I was going to ask you about, in the NCAA tournament, it does feel like my interest in the tournament wanes from the opening round all the way to the national championship night. I watch it, I enjoy it, and I'll watch it and enjoy it tonight. But I wonder if it went from the 12 teams to the 8 teams to the 4, and it just is waning as we go along.
Maybe we'll just get used to it. Maybe we're just not used to the playoffs yet. I was having this discussion with a friend of mine. Like, I think the best day in the NFL is Championship Sunday coming up. I think it's the best day in the NFL.
Back to back.
You get back to back. You get 2 games. Generally, at least one of them's good. A lot of times, both of them are good.
Though this past weekend was entertaining.
Oh, it was a phenomenal weekend. Yeah, I mean, even games that, like, Detroit and Washington was not a one-score game, but it was a very entertaining game. Yep. I don't know, man. I just think maybe we're just not used to this system yet. So
I do think part of it is that I believe the Buckeyes easily cover the 8.5 tonight. Where are you guys? I know you've got it at AtlantaSupply.com. You don't want to give it away.
I don't see a path to victory for Notre Dame. Now, you go back, and this is an Ohio State team that's beaten them 6 consecutive times. You go back last year, that one possession game where Ohio State had to get in last second. If Al Golden's defense plays to the level they can play at, they force Will Howard into a couple of turnovers, then anything could happen. But if both play their normal games, I think Ohio State wins this game going away.
I don't think there'd be any more buzz if this were Oregon and Georgia. Those were the 1 and 2 seeds going into this. So I don't think it's matchup related.
I don't either.
Ohio State and Notre Dame are as big a brands as you could get in college
and this
football.
ticket couldn't be any bigger.
Oh, it's massive. To get in, you mean?
Yeah.
Is it still like $2,400? Is that what it is?
I think it's like 17 or 18. I can check that again, but it's a lot.
That's Super Bowl-esque, isn't it? Or close to it over in Atlanta?
Maybe not that, but getting up there.
Yeah. So what would be Super Bowl? Didn't you go to an Atlanta Super Bowl?
Yeah, I don't want to say because I was with our ATIX people, and I said I paid X amount to see the Rams score 3 points.
Yeah.
Now, they said that was kind of a one-off Super Bowl.
Did ATIX give your money back on that one?
No, they did not.
Okay.
No, they did not. I'm telling you, man, if Buffalo finds their way into this Super Bowl, these tickets are going to be insane.
$1,768 for Section 349, row 19. That is upper corner of the end zone where the glass is, the glass opening looking out to the Atlanta skyline.
House.
Yep, I mean, that's upper end zone. I mean, there's not a terrible seat in Mercedes-Benz. That's a really good stadium. But if I pay $1,700,
I ain't sitting up there.
I'm not sitting in a corner end zone seat.
Yeah. So that's when we say get in is usually like some of the worst seats in the house.
Yeah, 5,200 50-yard line. If you want to sit on the 50-yard line, you're going to need to probably be ready for $4,500 or more per seat.
Yeah. Cut number 7, Marcus Freeman talking here. Marcus Freeman, an Ohio State great, playing his old school, trying to win a national championship for Notre Dame, their first since 1988. At Media Day over the weekend, he had this to say about tonight's game.
Everybody knows where I went to college. But as I've continuously said to our program and everybody around our program is that this opportunity is about this opportunity. This isn't about where I went to school. This isn't about the last 2 times we played Ohio State. This opportunity is about this opportunity, and we got to make sure we focus on that because this opponent is this current opponent. It's not the last 2 that we faced, and it's going to be a great challenge.
Everybody I know is pulling for Notre Dame because of that guy right there.
Yep.
Now, I say everybody I know. There's a guy sitting with us here that's just got too much Bama in him. He cannot pull for Notre Dame.
Oh, but I mean, look.
I think more it's my mybookie.ag account. I'm on Ohio State minus the 8.5.
I got you.
Yeah. This is kind of crazy. So, we've talked about Notre Dame is 7-0, or Marcus Freeman 7-0 against ranked teams this year. But if Ohio State wins this game, they're going to be the first team in the history of college football to beat top five teams in 1 year.
Yeah. I mean, whoever gets to the end of this, think about the path they've taken. I mean, Notre Dame had to beat 1-loss Indiana, SEC champion Georgia, Big Ten runner-up Penn State to make it to this thing. Ohio State had to beat 2-loss SEC team Tennessee, Big Ten champion Oregon.
Unbeaten number one.
Unbeaten number one, Big Ten champion Oregon, a team that had already beaten them once this year. And then Texas, the SEC runner-up. I mean, this is an incredible path for either of these teams to a national championship. I think we'll look back on it one day and say, you can't say they weren't tested. I mean, you can't say that they backed into a national championship. But that's the thing about a 12-team playoff. There's no backing into it anymore. I mean, you got to do something to win this championship.
That's right. You can back into the semifinals, but at some point, a good game's going to find you.
That's right.
Don't you feel like Notre Dame is going to be loose, though? Like if you're Marcus Freeman, I mean, Marcus Freeman's got to be loose. I mean, there is no way Marcus. Well,
he's playing with house money. I think.
I was going to say, like, going into the season, going into these playoffs, did Marcus Freeman really believe he's going to be playing for a national championship? Maybe. None of us did, though. But Ryan Day on the other side, you still lose this game, and it's back to where you were before.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Watch the game. Not that I've seen the script, but and if you're in fade Dunaway mode, I mean, you can go heavy on it if you want to, but. Notre Dame is starting a redshirt freshman at left tackle. It's his first start of the year. Left tackle ever important?
It's pretty important, and that's a fairly good defensive front he's going against.
Fairly good defensive front. Yeah,
they get after you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I do want to say that Ohio State, they don't have their starting left tackle. They hadn't had him for a while. They don't have their starting center. They hadn't had him in a while.
They've looked pretty good without those two guys, though.
Yeah.
This is this kid's first start.
Now, I get it.
Left tackle.
If Notre Dame is going to win a national championship, it's going to be with this defense.
It is.
I mean, the offense is going to have to avoid putting themselves in bad situations.
You just feel like everything Notre Dame does well, Ohio State defends that better than they do it well. Does that make sense? I mean, Notre Dame's a good run team. Who's run the ball on Ohio State? I mean, they stop the run better than anybody.
Yeah, nobody's run the ball on Notre Dame either, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame's allowing 3.4 yards per carry in 3 playoff
But
games.
if you have the run taken away from you, who do you feel, not to go back to our ongoing quarterback debate, but who do you feel better about?
Well, see if mybookie.ag's got player props up yet.
A lot of times they don't this early, but
I know.
I'll check it.
But, I mean, it's crazy that you've had all weekend all these books. Like, I've been looking around different. It's tough to find player props right now, and I would have thought you would have laid these out all weekend.
Usually day of is when it pops up at my bookie, so it should be out here right now or close to kickoff.
I get that a lot of times, but when you've had this long of time to, and this isn't just a my bookie thing, it's all like I can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, I get you all the team props you want, all the game props you want, but I can't get you the player props.
You want your path to victory for Notre Dame? It's this. If you watch the NFL, if you had a coach that was being mentioned for a head coaching job, coordinators, it was a distraction, especially for the two Lions guys.
So Ben Johnson, Todd Monken, Aaron Glenn.
Not for Kellen Moore, unfortunately.
Kellen Moore with the Eagles, but they did that offense.
Of course, the offense was awful outside of 3 plays.
Yeah.
And the offense only had 273 yards for our boy from LSU who's running the Bills offense. I mean, it wasn't his best game planning either.
Yeah, Brady.
For Joe Brady.
By the way, I think Joe Brady as a head coach is going to be a disaster.
Yeah, he's probably going to take the New Orleans job.
Which is a rebuild.
Yeah, which is a rebuild to start with. That being said, Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator, big role tonight. The buzz is that he is going to leave after the game and become the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma in the SEC.
Why?
He's got family back at Oklahoma. He was at Oklahoma State. He likes it in the state. Wants to help Brent Venables out. And he was asked about it directly at Media Day. And all he said, he didn't do anything to tap down the rumors. I'm just trying to beat Notre Dame. Is how he answered the question.
Do you think there is any truth to the rumor that he is sick of getting like drunk high on the fumes from the dye beard?
The beard dye.
Yeah, the beard dye from Ryan Day.
He's widely regarded as the best coordinator in the country. There are a lot of people that would say that is the best coordinator period in the country.
Yeah.
Here's something that's interesting to look for moving forward with guys like Jim Knowles, and we can talk to Pate about this in a minute. The reports are, and it may have been confirmed by now, that Tom Allen, who left, where was he? Penn State. He left Penn State to go to Clemson to be with Dabo, that he's not going to be an on-the-road recruiter.
That's right.
That he is simply going to be a coordinator because of the rule changes.
Yeah, the rule changes allow you're limited to the number of people you can have out recruiting, but you can have basically as many people coaching on the field as you want to now. I don't think there's a cap.
That's right.
By the way, it's a good gig for Tom Allen.
If I don't have to go on the road recruiting, it's an excellent gig. Now, all of a sudden, that
Let the youngs hit the road.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay here and coach football. When you bring them to campus, I'll do what I have to do.
That calendar that everybody talks about that's pushing guys to the NFL. If you're Tom Allen, you're like, well, I've eliminated a lot of that. Now I'm kind of an NFL coach right now. Yeah. I just show up and coach.
That's right.
I don't have to go recruit.
Who do you think is more disliked right now, the Kansas City Chiefs or Ryan Day?
I think the Kansas City
Chiefs.
I think winning. I think Americans love to build you up into being a winner, and then they love to cheer against you. At least that's the way I approach it.
You mean you do it that way?
Yeah. I mean, there was a time I was like, this is pretty cool. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. I'd like to see them win a Super Bowl.
Oh, boy, did they.
And then I'm like, God, I'm so tired of the Chiefs. I was the same way. First time the Steelers won a Super Bowl in the 70s, I was like, oh, look at that little redneck Terry Bradshaw.
No, you're right. I mean, the Cowboys, 49ers,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of fatigue. What's crazy is people hate Ryan Day, and the guy's never won anything.
I know.
No. But he, regardless of what happens tonight, it'll be his 4th top 5 finish in 6 seasons. That's pretty consistent.
No, it is really consistent.
Yep. He just doesn't have what Tressel and Urban Meyer has as a national championship. Maybe he gets that tonight in the national championship game. One more thing in this segment, and Josh Pate at the top of the hour after we tell you that Lance's Lock has plays for you tonight. Lance'sLock.com. It's brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill.
Yeah, 2-2 over the weekend in the NFL. We're going to have game. We're going to have side, total, and player props. Just waiting to get all those props out tonight. Lance'sLock.com. Free play every single day. Jump on board and win with us. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham's trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of these arise in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Listen, we got some crazy thoughts on the ACC championship game and some other conference championship game discussions coming out of big meetings over the weekend. Possible changes to the college football playoffs. We'll talk about that. How maybe the NFL will be working with scheduling with college football in the future. We'll talk about that all coming up in the show. Josh Pate's next. A couple of things here quickly. They honored Bill Jones and the Jacksonville State Basketball National Championship team over at your school, Jack State, over the weekend, 1985. This is some of the players were back together. Our friend Ashley was there. It's her dad, Bill Jones, that was the coach of that team. What is that, 40 years ago now?
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's them being honored there. And she was telling me, LT, that when they just named it Bill Jones Court, when that tornado tore through and tore up the gymnasium, and they had to destroy it all. And she literally, her and her family, went through the dumpster and pulled out the court that they played on, that they just named Bill Jones Court, that these guys played and won the national championship on. And they ended up, that's pieces of it right there, giving them all a piece of the court that they won the national championship on this weekend. Big honor for that crew over there.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and you had that Coke bottle we saw in the.
I did, yeah, when I was a kid.
Did you drink it?
I did not drink it. Those are commemorative. Yeah, but I had one of the basketball Coke bottles, the one Scott's showing right there. Those are big over in Calhoun County. And then they did one for the football team when Coach Burgess won at 92. So, yeah, actually, I had both those. You know, it was a half-court shot in the semifinals, pre-3-point line.
That sent them to the finals?
Sent them to the finals, yeah.
Were you watching?
I was not. I don't know if the game was on TV. Mike Paris was doing it on radio, the guy that is still the voice of the Gamecock.
The championship game was.
The championship game was on TV. I don't think the semifinals was.
I had a random 1983, and I don't know who gave it to me, Baltimore Orioles World Series Coke. Do you think anybody's got all of the commemorative Coke bottles?
that have been done everywhere?
I don't know. And as we go to the top of the hour to get to Josh Pate, congratulations to you just can't keep Alabama from winning national championships, Brownie. Over the weekend, Alabama cheer won down at ESPN Center. They get announced as the national champions. That's their 7th in program history. Congratulations to them. We'll crown a national champion in football tonight. Josh Pate coming up on the other side. This is TNR.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the PJCC with customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall, sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only, meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday, it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday, meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Show 870 as we get ready for a national championship tonight just down the road in Atlanta. And us in the SEC are not there, but our buddy Josh Pate is over in Atlanta on a cold day. Boy, I'm glad this one's indoors. I know all these people that want to play football up north in the playoffs. To hell with you.
Open the roof, man.
To hell with you guys. I'm glad it's indoors tonight.
Josh Pate joins us from Atlanta at Josh Pate CFB, the Josh Pate College Football Show. 3 nights a week right there on YouTube. What is up, Pate? How are you, my friend?
I don't know if you'll believe this, but I kept the heat on 72 last night. I had, by all accounts, a normal night of sleeping. I woke up this morning. Granted, we're on the 60th floor of the Westin. That's as specific as I can get. There's ice on the inside of the windows here.
Woo!
On the inside, not on the outside. The outside's okay. Like Dunaway said, I think Brett McMurphy reported a little while ago they're going to do Tampa again for the 2029 game. I don't even like being outdoors in Tampa in January. So can you imagine what kind of sadistic mind would want this thing played Like I can see Grant Field over at Georgia Tech from where I'm sitting. Who would want to play football over there today?
I'll go ahead and tell you, the one that was in Tampa was cold.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't even make it. It was
a
the Clemson-Alabama game, and I don't know why the infatuation. I brought this up with the Super Bowl, Pate. I don't know the infatuation. Tampa, to me, is a shithole. I might be in the minority. I'm just not a Tampa fan at all, and I don't know why we continue to send people to Tampa for these events.
Yes, go Bucks.
I mean, games in Tampa, people from Tampa, everything Tampa. Just toss it in the hole, I guess.
Hey,
I didn't like it either. Now, look, Tampa's best friend is Santa Clara.
Oh, God.
Once the Santa Clara game happened, everything before that was gold compared to Santa Clara.
Hey, real quick before we continue, this is why you're so successful, because you're organized and you're clean and you're neat. You've made your own bed behind you, have you not?
Are you serious right now? Do you see this? I mean, what do you? Well, who do you think? This is a set. Okay, that right there is a set. This is my real life.
Okay, well, that's not terrible though. You're still figuring out what you're wearing today and stuff. I'm just saying, for you to make your own bed, that's pretty impressive.
Someone made the bed.
Okay.
Someone made sure the bed looks good. Not someone from Tampa, obviously, but someone made sure.
Hey, if I take you back a month ago, how shocked are you Notre Dame's in this situation?
Dude, take me back 3 weeks ago. I'm shocked they're in this situation. I just didn't think they'd do it. I thought they could win a game or something like that. I didn't think they could string together the games because of what the formula takes for them to win. Now, that means I picked them I picked them to beat Indiana, but I picked them to lose to Georgia. I picked them to lose to Penn State. And at every turn, they've played their style of football. My whole thing with them was I love watching your style of football. It's sort of a take-you-back style of football, but you figure there's going to come a week where that runs dry. Well, what's funny is the Penn State game was that game. They gave up 200 on the ground. Notre Dame did. They didn't win the turnover battle, and they trailed by 2 possessions. These are 3 things I thought they couldn't afford. All 3 of them happened. They still won. Now, I'm going to say the same thing tonight. I don't think you can trail by 2 possessions to Ohio State. I don't think you can lose the turnover battle. You certainly can't give them 200 on the ground. But them getting here, regardless of whether they get beat by 50 tonight, is fairly shocking to me. I will admit that.
Why was the Michigan loss such a wake-up call that Ryan Day said to Chip Kelly, hey, sling it around the yard? I don't understand why they didn't play like this all season long. Why they tried to play in a phone booth against Michigan. Why they struggled in some other games offensively. Why have they not looked like the way they've looked in the postseason offensively since August?
Well, I'll tell you my theory on that. So I went up there in the spring. This was after they had lost 3 consecutive to Michigan. And Ryan Day, his whole staff actually, they were really brutally honest about it. And the message I took away from them was, we're Ohio State. There's no reason we should ever get pushed around. There's no reason we should ever be the second most physical team on the field. And that's really what it cost them against Michigan. I think that what I'm trying to tell you is, in terms of a game plan, I think they had resolved in their own mind how they were going to play Michigan way back in the spring. And I thought they looked at it and they said, there is no excuse when you recruit like we do, you develop, you got the depth and whatnot, that we shouldn't be able to lean on a team harder and more effectively than Michigan ever could. So then the season plays out. They weren't exactly winning that way. They were winning the way they should win. And then they got to that game, and they did, I think, what they resolved in their mind to do in the spring, and it didn't work. And the real crime is they never pivoted during the game. Only afterwards did they pivot. Now, I'm a believer if they played Michigan today, they'd beat them by 20. But that doesn't matter because that's not how the sport works. So the only difference between now and the last 3 years is the format gives them a third chance now. And they have taken that third chance and they've run with it, and they've done what they should have been doing all year. So credit for doing what you should have always been doing eventually. But that leads me to tonight. So let's say they lose tonight. Let's say the upset does happen. The $1 million question is, how do Ohio State fans look at it? Because you could look at it and you could say, well, it was a better year than we've been having. Yeah, we fell short, but man, we can't forget the Tennessee win. We can't forget the Oregon win. We can't forget the Texas win. That's fair. That's probably rational. But you could also look at it and say, you're telling me we didn't win the Big Ten again. We didn't beat Michigan again. We didn't win a national championship again. And the only reason we even got to play those 3 games is because the format changed and it expanded and we got an opportunity we previously wouldn't have gotten. So what's the difference in this year's team and previous teams? I could see a nice, solid subset of the Ohio State fan base feeling that way, which is why, and this is free advice, I highly encourage Ohio State to try and win the game tonight.
Josh Pate is with us at Josh Pate CFB on social media is where you find him. The Josh Pate College Football Show every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, 7 o'clock Central Time. You get that on YouTube. Download it wherever you get our podcast. Watch it on YouTube. Do the same thing we ask you to do for us. Subscribe, set your alerts so you know when he's live. Give his work a thumbs up there. We appreciate when you do that for us and when you do that for our friends like Josh Pate. Dunaway was just talking about this Jim Knowles story, though. It appears that he is in line to be Brent Venables' defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. You guys asked him about it during the media availabilities, and he certainly did not distance himself from it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. I'll tell you what you should go research. Not just Jim Knowles and how good a coordinator has he been, because he's been a really good one. Jim Knowles has defended Steve Sarkisian offenses as well as anybody in America, going back to his time at Oklahoma State and now his time in Columbus when they just faced him. He has pretty well owned Steve Sarkisian. I don't have the exact numbers. Well, they're on my phone somewhere, but I was actually researching that the other day in preparation for this move potentially happening. That's Brent Venables. If they make that move, knowing exactly what he's doing, knowing exactly how he gets graded as a coach, and knowing exactly who he's got to go through to get where they want to go if you're in Norman.
So I brought this up, though, Josh. You've got Tom Allen now going from Penn State to Clemson to coach with Dabo, and the reports are he will not have to go on the road recruiting. Whether that happens or not, we'll see. Do you see this as a trend for guys that are a little bit up in age, like Jim Knowles or Tom Allen, who have been doing it a while? Because everybody's talking about this calendar pushing coaches to the NFL. If I could take the on-the-road recruiting off your plate, hand it to a younger guy, might that entice these guys to make moves like that?
Yeah. The moment, I think I even may have been on this show. Remember when they passed the rule where you could have unlimited on-field coaches in the practice periods? That was a game changer. I don't know if college football stumbled into doing that, but they did something really, really key and really instrumental there, because what it afforded you to do is be so much more flexible with how you handle your staff. Now, if I've got Lance and I think he's a great recruiter and, you know, maybe one day he'll be good X's and O's, but he's a great recruiter. And I got Dunaway and he's a genius X's and O's, but he hates the road and I don't want to send him out. It used to be that you had to sacrifice either one way or another to have him on staff. Now I can just have Dunaway be the coach and I can have Lance be his analyst and he gets to coach on the field Monday through Friday, so he still gets the developmental side. But I can send him out on the road, and Dunaway doesn't ever have to leave the parking lot. I mean, that's a no-brainer. How do you not do that? I think there are guys right now who are already doing that. It's just not, proclaimed. It's not announced, but they're already doing that. That's a dynamic that's probably kept them around. I don't know. I don't want to list names because I'll forget some, but I know there are guys doing that right now. They've already started to take advantage of that, and I think that's something that'll be a little more publicly understood in the year or years to come.
Marcus Freeman 7-0 this year. It's amazing he's got to play for a national championship, but more amazingly, we talked about this last week on the show, Pate. He has made Notre Dame likable. Notre Dame was the most hated brand in all of football. I know they haven't won a championship since 1988, but even the old school college football fan now is able to stomach Notre Dame. Like most people can't stand Ryan Day, but for whatever reason, people love Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame now.
Well, it's because Marcus hadn't been around long enough. You let him be around long enough, he is a very good-looking, confident, charismatic guy. Those people are only likable until they start winning. And then they're not likable anymore for society. Like, I like Ryan Day fine, and most folks hate Ryan Day. So I think that's coming. It's a consequence of success. But think about this. So you were talking about how long it's been since Ohio State or Notre Dame won a title. You know, the Berlin Wall has fallen since Notre Dame last won a championship. Like, that's how long ago that was.
Yeah.
Hold On by Wilson Phillips was still being written the last time Notre Dame won.
Hey, Taylor Swift wasn't alive.
I know.
Yeah.
I like Hold On probably more than I should. I'll go ahead and admit it.
If you like it at all, then you do.
No, that's a good tune. I am not going to apologize because I'll get judged by these two. That's a good song by Wilson Phillips.
That was the song I edited a video for the 1988 Montevallo Lady Falcons basketball team.
No, don't admit that.
And that was the song I used for their highlight video.
It was okay when they brought it back for Bridesmaids, but that was it.
And Dunaway, just not to get too sidetracked, which editing software was used for that cut?
You could tell by my use of the beta tape right there. It was old school beta tape.
Yeah, it was chalk, splice and cut. Oh, grease pencil.
Where was I going? I'm sure I was going. Oh, yeah. So think about this. So we don't have to go back that far. Let's say we were to go back 8 years. That gets us into the late 20-teens. Were you guys like me in that you thought Notre Dame is a very prominent brand, and you can't tell the history of college football without telling the story of Notre Dame? However, the sport has kind of left them behind. It's kind of evolved beyond Notre Dame in terms of the national championship picture. Like, I never, ever thought that we would be talking about Notre Dame national championship conversations down the road. And that's even when they got in the playoff. Like, there was such a difference in them getting to Miami to play Bama versus ever having a shot to beat Bama, or making the playoff against Bama and Clemson versus ever winning against them and going to the title game. They're playing for a title tonight. So think about how much things had to shift, which had previously been away from them, back towards them a little ways. Like the changes around college football that everyone thought may benefit the G5, or it may benefit this conference or this brand. Notre Dame all of a sudden has the sport funneling back to it. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I think Marcus Freeman and the Irish will just be here every year, but I'm a whole lot more sold that this is sustainable and they'll be in the conversation than I ever would have been just like, I don't know, 36 months ago, 48 months ago.
Left tackle is a redshirt freshman making his first start of the season for Notre Dame tonight. How big of a factor does that end up being in the game?
Huge. I was talking to Kublik a few weeks ago. He was at, I can't remember which game he was at, but he was texting me saying, hey, do you know Jagasaw is actually down here warming up? Because everyone assumed he was done for the season. And he's down there, he's dressed, he's warming up, and now lo and behold, a few weeks later, he's got to start at an unfamiliar position for the national championship game. But let me take you back to week one. I think most people remember being really excited that Notre Dame was going to College Station to face Texas A&M, week one. And do you remember what every prediction consisted of? Every prediction I heard, including mine, was Notre Dame's a nice, solid program. A&M got a brand new head coach in Mike Elko. Expect big things from him in the future, but in the immediate future, they've got home field advantage, primetime game in week one, and what did Notre Dame have to do? They had to take an inexperienced offensive line with a true freshman left tackle into Kyle Field. That's going to swallow them up. And they went in there and won by 10, I think. Since then, even that freshman's done for the year, so they've had to backfill the guys that were already backfilling, and the performance has just been there all year. The performance level has been there. It's almost like, I know it doesn't work this way, but it almost feels like the unit of the Notre Dame offensive line is independent of who's wearing the helmet, which it doesn't make any logical sense. And it could all come crumbling in on them tonight, like that. This could be the red light finally. But I've expected it so frequently this year. They have had so many headlines scroll across the bottom of the screen, Notre Dame so-and-so out for the year, that made me go, nope, that's it. That just put a ceiling on what they can accomplish this year. And they're 4 quarters away from accomplishing the most you could possibly accomplish in a season. So maybe it implodes in on them tonight. I, of course, think it matters a lot. I hate their prospects against Ohio State's front, but I've hated their prospects against a front before, and it didn't matter.
He is Josh Pate. He is host of the Josh Pate College Football Show. You get it on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. It's 3 times a week. Go follow him on social media where he always promotes. Most of the time, he thinks it's going to be a good show. He'll tell you that at Josh Pate CFB. He does. He says, reports are tonight's a good show. He'll tell you that, yeah.
So much stuff that he can't get it all in usually.
I know, most of the time, but he gives it an effort. Pate, thank you very much for the time. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll see you soon.
Gentlemen, I appreciate it as always.
All right, buddy. Take care. That is Josh Pate with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
6:30 main ESPN tonight. Pregame show's already started on one of the networks there if you want to do that.
Do you put them all over? Do you put the Skycast and Fieldcast?
I really don't.
I don't, because it's hard for me to get them all synced up.
Yeah, so here's what happens with me. I get lucky most of the time. The regular broadcast is in front of the others. So it's actually, I'll have them up, and so I'm watching regular broadcast, and then for the replays, you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, like in press boxes, when I'm in the press box, you watch the live action on the field, and then it times out to where you look instantly up, and they're just snapping the play on the TV broadcast above you. So before there's even a replay on the television. You can look up and watch it live on the television broadcast. So I get into that sequence in the press box. But at home, I usually like just having, if there's just one game on one TV.
Can we, throughout the show, get some random things that have happened since the last time Notre Dame won a national championship?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Berlin Wall. I mean, Taylor Swift was born in '89.
Yeah.
But, I read earlier today, the inauguration today, that the first time that Trump really dabbled in politics, he reached out in 1988 and wanted to this was George H.W. Bush. He inquired about being his running mate.
And be vice president.
And Bush was like, that just doesn't make any sense. And kind of scoffed at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never knew that. So President Trump reached out to President Bush the older.
Yeah.
Who was coming off of back-to-back terms as vice president with Ronald Reagan.
President Reagan.
And 88 about potentially running alongside.
And he probably thought to himself, hey, do you realize how easily I'm about to win this election?
Yeah.
Why do I want to throw a wild card into this?
I'm following one of the most popular presidents in the history of the country. This is a no-brainer for me.
I've been beside him for 8 years.
Yeah. That was a young Trump, and that's the last time Notre Dame won a national championship.
That is pretty crazy.
Long time ago. The inauguration is ongoing. They just the introduction of the starting lineups. Watch it as it's indoors today. So Brown tells me it happened the second term for Reagan, but they have a curtain back for the stage, and it's an American flag hanging there, and it was open it up. It's like, shoo, Bill Clinton comes
I'll tell you what, there are certain.
I was just thinking to myself, 6'2" from Fayetteville,
Arkansas. Bill Clinton. The best was when the Supreme Court came out. And they all got their robes. And they came out so fast, and I just wanted one of them to rip it off like
check into the game.
Aren't there some places you go and you're like, damn, I might be the oldest person here.
Yeah.
Like I can't go to Innisfree anymore. Like if you want to feel young, just go to Washington.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah.
There's some poor old guy who was just walking in. His wife. I didn't want to interrupt what we were doing, but because for something nobody can see. But I swear his wife looked like Jerry Springer when they were walking in.
I didn't see her.
Yeah, I was like, oh, ooh,
man, Barron Trump is tall.
He is,
and he likes his suitcase.
Yeah, he is very, very tall.
It's like Greg.
It is.
He does put off Greg's vibes.
Yes.
Likable character at the end.
Yep.
I liked him a
Well,
lot.
I like Greg the whole time. Just so awkward and goofy.
All right. The inauguration continues. It's a national holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day here. Good services happening in communities all across America. And it's National Championship Day. Our interview with Josh Pate brought to you by our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, I was actually in there on Saturday. Got me a nice bowl of chili, grilled cheese. Fantastic food from Rodney Davis, from the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, and a great place to watch the national championship game tonight. Live music every Friday, Saturday, every Wednesday at the original location. We've got Odie's Team Trivia. That's in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Get in today, go see Will Haver and that great staff. It's a Birmingham institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
You mentioned the buzz for the game, and I just don't know that there's any way, if they're going to do a 12-team playoff, they can change this. But part of the problem is they're never going to own their day. And what I mean by that is we've got TVs now. One of them is NFL Network, so that doesn't count. But you look, as I say this, they're previewing Ohio State Notre Dame on SportsCenter. But the vast majority of the get-ups and the first takes, what are they talking about today?
They're all reacting.
Yeah, to the NFL games.
And that gets me to our McCurry Spotlight today on something they're trying to, and they feel like they have an ally in this. It's our Spotlight today on this National Championship Monday. Hit it.
The College Football Spotlight.
McCurry Van and Car Rental, the local rental company you can depend on. They got all you need, the trucks, the SUVs, the passenger vans. They get you in and out quick. They make it easy to rent all over North Alabama, Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest in Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
The College Football Playoff Committee, all the ADs and the people that run this had a big meeting. We'll talk about other things they've discussed, but one thing Rich Clark said, coming out to your point, Brown, is that he has had conversations with Roger Goodell, and Roger Goodell has promised to work with college football and the college football playoff on future scheduling and how they overlap, the NFL and college football. They didn't go into details on what that possibly could mean. What kind of concession do you think the NFL would be willing to make to open up a path for the college football playoff national championship game to be this past Saturday night? Is there a chance the NFL would say, we'll play those two games in the afternoon?
Zero chance. I mean, I haven't seen the TV ratings for that Lions-Commanders game. I'll see if I can find them. They'll be massive. That was prime time on Fox. The question would be, would you get the same rating, if you did that game at 3 o'clock on a Saturday? I don't know. I don't know, but I don't think the NFL wants to find out.
And that would push the other one to 12 noon. So you're playing 2 on that day,
That's right. Yeah, it would be. So what the Chiefs and the Texans would have been a noon kick, probably 3:30 for Lions and Commanders, and then that would allow for a 7 o'clock college football kick.
But to your point, on the national sports scope, it still is swallowed up by 2 NFL playoff games, regardless of when it kicks, and then 2 more NFL playoff games when it kicks. So you'd be in the middle of a sandwich of NFL playoff games, which is going to dominate the television ratings. There's really nothing you can do.
It would almost be worse, Lance, because, can you imagine the end of that Lions-Redskins or Lions-Commanders game? I don't know if I'll ever get past that Lions-Commanders game.
It's tough.
And then especially when you spend all weekend talking about, the last time they were in the championship game, they were the Redskins. That almost makes it more difficult. Then you kick a college game. I think
is that on Trump's agenda, by the way?
Probably so.
We got the Redskins coming back.
The entire world is going to be talking about the outcome of those 2 games. Again, I think it almost swallows you up worse if you try to do that on that Saturday.
Probably, yeah, probably.
I think your better shot is to have your own day, even though all morning long nobody's going to be talking about your game. At least you're the only game playing.
Am I not? Do I misremember this? When we were in Pasadena for the 2009 National Championship in 2010, was that not a Thursday night?
It was.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way, if this game, if you had some more days, I know some people don't want to extend this thing out, but I think it would make more sense to play this thing on Thursday.
They moved it to a Monday night, if you'll remember, because ESPN had it. That's when they had the rights, and they were like, we got Monday Night Football. We want to keep that going.
Yeah, so already built-in audience.
That's right.
Monday night. But see, we're past that now. We're deeper into the calendar, and, we don't have Monday Night Football last Monday night.
But you just said last week, and you were right, by the way, we're going to play a college football semifinal game on a Thursday night. What are the ratings going to be like? They weren't great.
They were not great.
They were really, really good, but they weren't through the roof great.
Yeah, I just.
So you're going to do that now for the national championship game too, just to avoid the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know if it changes the ratings or not.
Friday night? Yeah. Would you do Friday night or Thursday night?
I think I'd prefer Thursday.
Yeah, I think Thursday night's the night to do it.
But I know fans would like to wake up on Saturday morning and not have to go to work. I don't know. It's impossible to do from when we stopped playing the end of college football on January 1st, because you still have that's the end of the regular season in the NFL. You're not into the NFL postseason. And when the college season ended on January 1st, you didn't have the overlap of the good stuff of the NFL.
Their thinking is, and you worked in TV long enough, and radio was the same way, is if you get people used to a schedule, they'll stay on that schedule. So, there's a reason we do our show 9 to noon every day. We could do it at any time. We're not limited by anything.
Yeah, and some of you consume it on replay anyway.
That's right. Some of you consume it on replay anyway, but imagine if one morning we did our show at 9 and then the next time we're like, we're going to do it at noon today. You'd never know when we're live.
Ironically, we do that sometimes.
But I'm saying if we did it a lot, the consistency matters. So what they're counting on is last week Lance's team played on a Monday night. There was a Monday night football game.
Yeah.
So they're counting on people being geared. Oh, great, there's a Monday night football game tonight. It's college, not the NFL, but heck, I'm still going to watch. It's football. That's what they're counting on by having it on this Monday night. We'll see if the numbers support that. Listen, if they don't, now, if it's a blowout, that hurts your numbers. But with these two brands, if it's a good game and they don't get a very good TV rating, I think they do have to go back to the drawing board on this.
What is the worst we've seen? Was it TCU and Georgia?
Oh, yeah, because it was $60 billion to nothing.
It was SEC, which people were tired of, versus a non-brand in TCU, and it was 66-3.
It was over into the first quarter, right?
Yeah, it was a blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that had to be the worst ratings we've had.
Yeah, I think these numbers are going to be strong.
Yeah.
It depends on the game again. Now, if it's people will not stay up late to watch a bad game.
It'll be interesting to see what they are. And again, you can't judge them by the NFL numbers. So good numbers they're good by college football standards, not NFL standards, which blows them out of the water. All right, that's our McCurry spotlight on maybe some working with the NFL and college football playoffs down the road on some scheduling. McCurry there helps you with your rental car schedule.
McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
And our friends at Wada Wellness, when we come back, we talk about some more of college football news that came out of the weekend in Atlanta, some changes that could be coming for the college football playoffs, but nothing decided yet, and craziness from the ACC on a potential ACC championship game weekend and how they will do that. We'll get to that. Weight of Wellness will help you with your eating schedule. Meal replacement, injection therapies, everything you can do to get healthier in 2025. Just go to the website at planforme.com, planforme.com. Leslie and her board-certified team are there to help you with the weight loss or controlling your blood pressure or controlling your cholesterol. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation's free. Again, meal replacement, injection therapy, everything else. planforme.com. It's Weight of Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
By the way, Ashley, our buddy Ashley Jones, Bill Jones writes in the chat room. I saw in the mybookie.ag chat room. that Coke bottle, Forrester, that this commemorative Coke bottle, she says it's the only commemorative bottle that Coca-Cola did with new Coke on the inside.
Oh, how about that?
I wonder if that's legit.
Ashley would
You're
know.
trusting Ashley?
That could be one of those urban legends. I mean, there's no way in that moment in time that's the only bottle they did.
Wow. Lance
I'm doubting our girl
clearly.
Ashley.
Did I misquote her out of the chat room there?
Side note, the basketball Coke bottle is the only national championship bottle with new Coke inside. Ha-ha, she says. There is a ha-ha on there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if I don't think the new Coke was around when the Bear Bryant Trophy was the ones were done. In the 70s,
I mean it was
right?
a very small run for new Coke, but I don't know how many of those commemorative bottles they did.
And at that point, did they say, "I don't want to put new Coke in there. Let's go Coca-Cola Classic"? Oh, didn't have that at the time. They actually took Coke Classic off the shelves, right?
Do you believe
for a brief period of time?
We've talked to our
they
friends
did.
We've talked to our friends at Coca-Cola. Do you believe that was just a mastermind marketing ploy to make Coke Classic even more popular than it already was?
It had to be.
You mean sort of like dropping TikTok for 19 hours over the weekend?
Yeah, just
and having everybody. Oh, I went back and I searched all my TikTok videos and I saved as many as I could.
It had to be. When you've got a award-winning formula like that is worldwide successful.
That's right.
Yeah, for decades and decades and decades, it had to have been a gimmick. Now, when I was a kid, when that went down, you don't think anything like that. You just believe it's new Coke. I thought new Coke was okay.
I just don't really remember.
It was okay.
Now, the other urban legend with new Coke, which our friends at Coca-Cola have told us is not true, is that Diet Coke is new Coke with artificial sweetener. Now, our friends at Coca-Cola have said absolutely not true.
Right, and that Coke Zero is the Coke Classic version of their diet soda, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really
all the stuff we always pitch them when we have meetings, all not true.
Yeah.
All not true.
They're like, can you guys just quit bringing this stuff up?
Yeah. All right, 4 downs in a second. Crazy plan from Jim Phillips on the ACC championship in just a second as LT tells us about our friends at Hemp Hill. 17 degrees this morning when I cranked the old truck, LT.
Yeah, I was telling Taylor, I never got warm coming in. Like, I had cranked the car 5-10 minutes before I left the house. My 15, 20-minute commute never got warm one time.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that home is warm or the business. Heating, plumbing, cooling. I had them come out this Friday. Some plumbing issues. Drains were backed up. They were out there for less than an hour. Everything is absolutely perfect now. Any of these situations arise in your home or business, they're ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Okay, we know that there is a chance that the conference championship game weekends, it's a work in progress. We don't know how they're going to fit into the future. I would say that just hearing ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips on Sunday over in Atlanta lets you know that there is concern about the current way the championship games exist, right, Brownie? Here's the story from Adrian Adelson of ESPN.com. ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips said Sunday that the league will have conversations among coaches and ADs about whether to make changes to its conference championship format after the 12-team record. This past season, SMU entered the ACC championship game as the regular season champion, but lost to Clemson in the ACC title game and had to sweat it out before selection day before earning a spot in the 12-team playoff. Here is a scenario that Phillips, this is the next paragraph.
Okay.
The commissioner of the ACC says that they would consider giving the regular season champion a bye and have the teams that finish second and third in the league standings play in the ACC championship game.
So a little bit like basketball in that you've got a regular season champion and a postseason champion. Now, in basketball, they could be the same team. They could not be the same team in this scenario.
They would not be the winner of that game played then the regular season champion. He is saying that they would crown basically 2 champions, the regular season champion and the winner of the second and third place game.
That's stupid.
That is asinine.
Yeah.
He said another possibility is having the top 4 teams play on the final weekend of the regular season. First place versus fourth place, and second place versus third place, with the winners playing the following weekend in the ACC championship game. So that would involve leaving an open slot in the final weekend of the regular season. Well, where does that become a problem, Brownie? Oh, wait a second. Who does Clemson play the final weekend?
Well, they play South Carolina.
Yeah. Who does Florida State play?
They play Florida.
Yeah.
Who does Louisville play? They play Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean,
we're overcomplicating.
We really are.
Yeah. If you want to save championship game weekend, and you want to change it, by the way, it worked out fine for the SEC. We were worried about it. It was all fine. Television ratings through the roof. Better than most of the playoff games so far. And an exciting game that both teams tried to win. And both teams made the playoffs. It was all fine. But if you are going to change, you got to go to the format that Clapp brought up with us first, and you just go to that day and you have automatic bids and you play an entry into the tournament, into the college football playoffs. That's the best way to save that weekend if you're going to save that weekend. But that's not going to be a true conference championship game.
Can't we just maybe try it where we put the best 12 teams in, and we put the best 4 seeds as the top 4 seeds and see how that works before we make any other sweeping changes, which is what they're talking about this weekend.
So no automatic bids at all? No, you still would have
No, you can have
bids.
automatics,
Yeah.
but I'm saying let's seed them 1 through 12 of the best 12. So in other words, Clemson would have still been the 12th seed. They were the worst automatic bid. But your top 4 seeds are your top 4 teams.
Yeah.
Let's try it that way before we make big sweeping changes. That's what I would say.
I think Jim Phillips in the ACC is worried that, boy, we almost cost our regular season champion a spot in the playoffs by the way we're doing this. How can we manipulate this and get 2 teams in every year?
Right.
Not a problem for the SEC or the Big Ten. It is a concern for the Big 12 and the ACC.
Yeah, I feel like we're overthinking things before we're seeing how this thing really, really plays out when we finally get the formula right.
Yeah.
And the formula was not right this year. So let's get the formula right and see how this goes. Now, when the formula gets right, to your point, maybe the ACC is out of luck. I don't know.
No decisions made on changing the college football playoff format. They've got another meeting coming up in May, but they can call a meeting anytime they want to, so there's no deadlines there for that. So that's the news from the college football playoffs and some crazy commissioner talks from over in Atlanta. The show today being brought to you by our friends at World of Wills. We're getting ready for that great event, Brownie, and then we'll get to our 4 downs today. World of Wills, this has been passed down generations to generation of great family fun here in our town.
It is the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wills, January 31st through February 2nd, down at the BJCC. You don't want to miss it. See custom classic cars, hot rods, trucks, motorcycles. New this year, check out the exotic car exhibit. Plus, don't mix the BMX bike stunt team performing outrageous stunts live each day. Kids can meet their favorite costume characters, race Hot Wheels on the free Hot Wheels drag track. Don't miss the Super Show with one-of-a-kind vehicles from across the country. Get your discount tickets today. O'Reilly Auto Parts stores have those, and you can get all the details at worldofwills.net.
And our 4 downs brought to you by our friends at Slice. Great place for lunch and dinner on a cold, wintry day.
Oh, yes. Stop in for lunch or dinner. You can pick up a slice and a salad, pick up a couple of pies on your way home. 5 great locations created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers Jason and Chris continue to celebrate his legacy. Locations, Lakeview, the original, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
J.J. McCarthy, 22 years old today.
Wow.
Yeah. Tyler Hero, only 25 years old. Ultimately, better career, J.J. McCarthy or Tyler Hero?
I think McCarthy's going to be really, really good. So I will go J.J. McCarthy. Gut tells me he had played well in the preseason. He's the guy that everybody kind of crapped on when he was the Michigan quarterback. Just gut tells me. And if Kevin O'Connell's coaching him, O'Connell knows how to coach quarterback. Weird story, though, about O'Connell. Perhaps the Vikings trading him. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
I think Schefter reported it, and that's a weird story.
Because in the NFL world, if you've got a coaching contract, you just can't. There's no buyouts.
Yeah,
the franchises get compensated.
Yeah, I mean that's what happened to John Gruden. That's how he became your Bucs coach. And I didn't realize this. I saw an interview with him on Barstool. When Gruden got traded, I didn't remember this part of it. Part of the trade was he couldn't take any of his assistant coaches with him.
That's right. Had to leave him behind.
So Tampa trades for him. He's replacing Dungy, who was a very popular coach in that locker room. He shows up completely by himself with no assistant coaches. Has to build a staff from scratch, win over a locker room, and all he does is go win the Super Bowl. It's really pretty remarkable.
It's tough to do. I'll say this, though. Tyler Hero, I think, is really, really underrated.
Plays with Miami.
Yeah. And he is so freaking good. So I'm going to go Tyler Hero. I do agree. I think J.J. McCarthy, we wasn't asked to do a lot last year, winning a national championship. Probably will get better and better, and especially being under Kevin O'Connell. But
what if he loses that coach though?
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem. If he gets traded, that's a problem. But if he plays for O'Connell, all his quarterbacks are good.
I'm going to go with Tyler Hero just because he's already he's off to a good start. McCarthy is not.
Second down.
Rainn Wilson, 59 years old. You guys are familiar with Rainn Wilson.
I know who Rainn Wilson is. Do you know who Rainn Wilson
from The Office?
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So if I asked you, if you have to dress 24/7 like Dwight Schrute from The Office with those, you've kind of got the mustard color on right there, but with the dress shirts. If you had to wear Dwight Schrute 24/7 or Magnum PI 24/7.
Oh, Magnum PI, 100%. Tiger's hat and Hawaiian shirt.
I mean, that was more comfortable. I would go with just to move around in public. I'd rather be in Schrute. I don't think I'd stand out as much. Those
it's two things I've never worn. I've never worn a short sleeve
I don't like that.
dress shirt.
Yeah, I don't like
and
those.
I have never worn a I've never worn a Hawaiian shirt in my life.
Yeah, but I just don't want to wear a tie every day. When's the last time you've had a tie on? Can you remember it?
I wore one to a wedding recently.
Close your eyes.
It was a wedding or a funeral.
It was a wedding, I think, last summer. No, I don't even think it was the summer of 24. I think it might have been the summer of 23.
I went to my buddy Cole Kennedy's wedding and had a tie on.
Yeah, so last time I wore a tie was now you're about to wear it every sinle day. Nobody wants that.
The Hires wedding before that, I wore a tie in the parking lot as I was watching people walk in.
No
I looked
ties?
at Maggie, I said, everybody's got an open collar. And I took that tie off and left it in the car.
It was Jace's graduation.
Yeah.
I think that was the last time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you went tie to graduation? I didn't even do that.
Yeah. I think so. Boy, both would be horrible, right?
Yeah, I don't want to wear a tie every day. I don't want to wear a Hawaiian shirt and a Tigers hat every day, but I do that over
What if you had to throw the mustache in?
I mean, it's a tie every day. Do you know how old that would get?
It's a mustache every day.
It is. I'd still go Magnum PI, I think.
Third down.
Could you imagine showing up to church in a Tigers hat and a Hawaiian shirt?
Big fake mustache.
Quite the
fake
look.
mustache, yeah.
I still can't believe the mustache is a thing again. Let's go here. Buzz Aldrin, 95 years old today.
How about that?
Still hanging around.
Still hanging around?
Never admitted that it was a fake.
Better career, Buzz Aldrin or Tim Allen?
Oh, Buzz Aldrin, man. I mean, there have been, I think, 12 people on the moon. Am I right about that? And he's one of the 12.
Do we have confirmation, though? Bro?
Yeah, there supposedly have been 12 people on the moon, and he's one of the 12.
I know Tim Allen's got a new show out that is apparently doing really well.
Oh, is it?
It can't
Really?
be doing really well. They always say they're doing really well.
Well, I mean,
the ratings are the ratings, right?
Compared to everything else on TV. Am I right about that, Tyler? 12 people on the moon? Is that what you were Googling?
There have been a total of 12 people to land on the moon.
And Buzz Aldrin is one of them.
12 have landed. How many have walked?
I think it's all 12.
All 12 have walked on it? Okay. That would be so Jim to land on the
Buzz
moon, but be
Aldrin
too
was
scared to
never
get
Santa
out.
Claus,
I mean, I'll go Buzz Aldrin. I mean, Tim the Tool Man, that was his most popular show,
There
right?
is no doubt. Nah, he's done some movies, too.
I mean,
though.
Buzz Lightyear was pretty
Buzz
huge.
Lightyear was big, and the Santa Claus, they did like 15 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would go Tim Allen here.
Yeah, I'm going to go Buzz Aldrin just because the very few humans have done that.
Yeah, that's right. 12, in fact.
Yeah.
He's one of 12.
And again, for those that say it didn't happen, I mean, he's 95 now. I mean, not all of us are at the best mental situation at 95, and he still hasn't, told anybody, yeah, we were faking it. I mean, at some point, you'd spill those beans before you left, right?
He was talking about a weird obelisk on the moon in one interview, though. He was talking about some crazy stuff, like a giant obelisk, like a 2001: A Space Odyssey on the dark side of the moon.
I would tell you this, Tyler. I probably would have invented a couple of things in my head to write a new book since the 1960s. I would have been like, I never said this, but they were shiny rubies I found underneath the dust. They never wanted me to bring that up, but there are rubies all over the moon too.
Well, they've already identified.
Do you think the majority of people believe the moon landing was real?
I think the majority of people do, but I think there's a growing number of people
I think
that
the
don't.
further we get away from it, the more believe it was not real.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, like I was listening to a Rogan podcast. I can't remember who Rogan was interviewing. Oh, I do. It was Matt Walsh, the conservative commentator. And Rogan Rogan is he does not believe we went to the moon.
Yeah, there's propaganda to help win the Cold War
and
the Russians.
And people like that.
And the propaganda made sense, though, whether or not they made it to the moon or not.
Rogan reaches a very, very large audience. He's the most influential media member there is right now, and it's a young audience. So the more people like that talk, the more young people are going to be like, well, I wasn't alive for it. How do I know? So they're just going to go with what a guy like that says. So I think the further we get away, and one of his things is, why did we do it and we've never gone back? I mean, it's been 50 years now, we've never gone back. Now, the interesting thing is there's a lot of asteroids, but one specifically that they have identified that it's got enough minerals and all that the world would never need anything else if we could just mine that one asteroid. Like, it's got everything we need for everybody to be wealthy in this world. Like, there would be no wealth issues or
so we need to get Harry and his crew back out from Armageddon.
Yeah.
But see, we decide what that metal is worth. You know what I mean?
That is correct. Yeah.
So there would still be classes and wealth and not wealth. I mean,
but the classes
I couldn't bring back enough gold for everybody to have gold bars, because then gold wouldn't be worth anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it would, whatever the currency, I mean, it would become the currency, and then there would be enough. Now, the problem is, whoever decides to mine it, they're now going to own it. Though the point is, there's enough that everybody could have it. But it's whoever found the way to mine it, now they would own it, and then not everybody has it, is your point. My point was, there's enough in that one asteroid for the entire world to be fine.
Yeah, but
it's never going to get to the whole
world. But if I gave everybody all the gold bars they needed to be, equally rich in the world, we decide on how much everything costs, and it wouldn't work.
Right, but the bigger issue is that the gold bars never get to the world. The gold bars get to whoever decides to mine it. Now they own it. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah. Either way, there's always going to be a financial class.
But the point
system.
is, like, if we could get to that asteroid and mine it, why would we not? Do you believe we can get to that asteroid and mine it?
I don't know. I mean, how big's the asteroid?
Well, the problem is, and this is what Rogan talks about, and this is an issue that a lot of people have, is the Van Allen radiation belts, and flying through those is an issue.
We've never really done that with humans.
That we have, but I think what NASA said. Well, I think what NASA said was, over the poles, the Van Allen radiation belts, they're weaker, and so that they would fly through that. They wouldn't fly through the strong part of the radiation.
So what are they
belts.
saying? If you flew through the strong part, what would it do?
Oh, it'd kill you. Yeah, it's more radiation than a human body can handle. But they were saying that there's weaker parts of the Van Allen radiation belts that's what a lot of people believe, and that's what they flew through.
Like, a lot of people believe that our technology, when we're shooting things out in space, when we lose so many telescopes or satellite or missions that we're sending out to go to Mars and other places, that it's the radiation that really starts making all this stuff not work. Problems. Space travel.
I don't know. So
what Buzz Aldrin.
That's why we don't do it a lot, right?
Yeah.
Fourth down.
Paul Stanley, 73 years old today.
Kiss, drummer.
Guitarist.
But he got the right band. I mean, let's start there.
Paul Stanley or Paul Simon, better career?
I can't stand Paul Simon.
I'm not asking you whether you like him. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go Paul Stanley. I mean, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day. Beth, I hear you calling. Compared to, you can call me Al. I mean, there's no competition here.
I don't know that anybody thinks of Paul Simon simply for "You Could Call Me Al."
That's a horrible song.
Well, that was a terrible song.
I'm not saying it's a great song, but
How small was Paul Simon?
Michael Jordan had bad games. People don't. Tiger Woods had bad rounds. Nobody's like, oh, Tiger Woods, he shot a 78 in the final round of the British Open.
How small was Paul Simon?
He was pretty small.
I mean, Chevy Chase
Don't you remember
huge
Chevy
in that
Chase
video.
was playing the trumpet, and he played it right over his head.
I think I would
Simon,
go Paul
anything
Stanley.
without Garfunkel.
Paul Simon was 5'3".
Yeah, he's small.
My
dude.
gosh. Throw him around in the pool.
I mean, Paul Simon's greatest hit, number one on Spotify.
Bridge Over Troubled Water is probably the song
That's
he's
him
most
and
known
Garfunkel.
for. Well, he is the Simon of Simon and Garfunkel.
He
You
is,
understand that, right?
Wait, you don't think Sound of Silence is bigger?
Number one download.
It's the only one I know.
For Paul Simon's solo career is "You Can Call Me Al."
Okay,
number
we'll
one.
do Simon and Garfunkel.
50 Ways to Leave Your Lover
That was
is
terrible.
number two.
Awful song.
Another
I hate
horrible
that song.
song. Me and Julio, Kodachrome, Graceland. I mean,
do Simon and Garfunkel. What's their number one?
Well, I mean, you're going to get to a lot of hits here now.
Well, I mean, again, he is the Simon and Simon and Garfunkel. I'm not even sure if you're aware of this.
I am.
Okay.
I mean, like Paul Stanley.
Mrs. Robinson is number one.
I forgot about that one. Yeah.
They did their solo careers with Kiss. You remember the standalone where you had Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, Paul Stanley, and Gene Simmons. And I am going to say Paul Simon's solo career much bigger than Paul Stanley's.
Oh,
there's no doubt.
Sound of Silence, Cecilia, The Boxer, Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Wow, Bridge Over Troubled Water's that low, huh?
Yeah, number 5.
I think Paul Stanley will be remembered longer, though, just because of the commercialization of Kiss. They put their name and face on everything you possibly could.
Yeah, and I think I'm right on this, but Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons were in a different group. And Peter Criss was the one that actually put Kiss together.
I think that's right.
Yeah. And I think he put an ad in like Rolling Stone, and that's how they found Peter Criss.
Yeah, what do
you think an ad for a wanted band back in the early 70s was in Rolling Stone? I mean, that had to be the go-to, right? There was no other way to find this kind of stuff.
I bet it was $1,000. Wasn't that expensive, I bet.
I bet for then it was
cheaper than that.
Yeah, you think it was cheaper? All right, that's 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 locations. Stop in for lunch or dinner. Local pizza, local ingredients, from the hot mama to the soul pie, the wing and a prayer. You're going to love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
We'll get back to the big basketball wins and talk about the national championship game coming up at the top of the hour and what we saw in the NFL playoffs. One side note in college football, the big Penn State receiver, Harrison Wallace, 6'1", 729 yards receiving, 4 touchdowns this year. Picked Ole Miss over the weekend, over Texas A&M and South Carolina. So no Ohio State, no Tennessee, ends up at Ole Miss there as Lane starts to rebuild that roster a little bit there. Got a thought on the wide receiver leaving Happy Valley and going to Oxford?
I mean, when healthy, Trey Harris was one of the top 2, 3, 4 receivers in all of college football. I mean, look, they've been getting talented guys for the last couple of years, but with that easy schedule this year, it didn't equate to anything.
And Amari Nyblack, who had 20 catches and 4 touchdowns for Alabama, who left for, he thought better waters with Sark at Texas, had 5 catches this past year. He's in the portal again, visiting Texas A&M on Saturday.
I mean, I got to say, I don't know that it worked for him or Isaiah Bond. I know Bond's going to the NFL. Bond had a good year, but he didn't have a better year than he had in Tuscaloosa. It certainly didn't work for Nyblack.
Yeah, I think for Bond, though, just based on where the teams were, it probably did work out. And I've seen Bond, just based on speed, is going to be the 5th or 6th receiver taken, which is probably early second round.
Tennessee lands Duke running back Star Thomas, 871 yards, 7 touchdowns from Duke to Tennessee. Is that a good pickup?
Tennessee's receivers did not blow us away this year.
Yeah, he was running back for Duke, but yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I didn't watch a lot of Duke football this year.
I didn't either.
I know they had wins.
That was a good season. I watched almost none of it.
Most silent 9-win campaign with Malik Murphy and Manny Diaz's first year.
The game I watched the most of was the SMU game. They had SMU on the ropes and could not close the deal. They had 6 turnovers in that game.
And if you're picking a coaching staff to play flag football with, a college coaching staff, it's got to be Colorado. Even Dion could hobble around and play DB. You got Warren Sapp, new running back coach for Colorado, Marshall Faulk.
He just loads up, doesn't he?
Wow, he does.
I guess these guys are just wanting to give back.
Well, but you say that, but Eddie George may be parlaying this thing into an NFL job.
Yeah, I mean he's interviewing the Bears, so. Yeah. The more you see the Dan Campbells and the Deion Sanders of the world working out, a lot of these guys want to get back into it because of the money.
Marshall Faulk, you think, needs some money?
Well, I would say that Marshall Faulk never made as much as these coaches are making in a year. I mean, Marshall Faulk probably never made $7 or $8 million, and he was the best running back in the NFL for 2 or 3 years.
In the game, you're right, for a while. All right, more college football in the national championship game tonight. The inauguration of President Donald Trump continues in Washington, D.C. on a busy, busy day that's brought to you by our friends at A+. Brownie, tell us about those great folks.
That is who redid the master bath in the Brown House. A+, bathandkitchen.com. That is the website to go to, aplusbathandkitchen.com. You can see before and afters from the bathroom in our home and Lance's home, a bunch of other before and afters there as well. When it came time to redo the master bath in the Brown House, my wife scoured the internet looking for the perfect person for the job. She talked to certain contractors, people that had used certain contractors. She picked Brad Bell, and I'm glad she did because he did tremendous work for us. You can call Brad at this number, 205 205-422-1758. That's 205-422-1758. Or visit this website for more information, aplusbathandkitchen.com. That is aplusbathandkitchen.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
It's the O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st through February 2nd at the PJCC with customs, classics, hot rods, and more. Check out the exotic lineup in the Supercar South Hall, sponsored by Mob Inc. And don't miss the BMX stunt team performing outrageous stunts live. Friday only meet All Elite wrestler Christian Cage. Saturday it's Bill Carlton from Texas Metal. And Sunday meet Oscar from The Office. Bring the kids for free Hot Wheels racing, costume characters, rides, and more. Get discount tickets at all O'Reilly Auto Parts stores. Details at worldofwheels.net.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239 Equal Housing Lender.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, the inauguration, President Trump is sworn in at 11:02 Central Time, 12:02 there in the D.C. area. He is the 47th President of the United States as he takes over there inside, which I thought was a smart decision on a day like this out there. Everyone looks a lot more comfortable. I don't know why they don't do them all inside.
It always is because it happens in January. It is always the third Monday of January. No, wait a minute. It is always January 20th. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And January 20th is always going to be cold in D.C. Like, I don't know if the day they picked January 20th, like it was an unseasonably warm day that day.
I don't see that.
And they were like, man, January 20th, quite nice. Let's just do it this day every year.
I felt like the first one, did they not do it inside and then they walked out on a balcony and then waved at everybody?
There was the one old boy that did the long speech and died.
Did it in the rain, right?
Yeah.
Got pneumonia.
Yeah.
I just, let's just do this. Let's go ahead and kill two birds with one stone. Let's build a massive dome stadium for the Commanders there back in the D.C. area and just hold it in a dome every year.
I got a text over the
Controlled
weekend.
environment.
That's the American way.
Randomly, what is the coldest game you've ever been to? And I said, well, it was one of two. It was either 2002 LSU, Alabama, and Baton Rouge. I don't know if you guys went to that.
I was not at that game.
I think Franchione and Alabama beat Saban 31-0.
And that was a really cold game?
Oh, my gosh. I can't even explain it. But then the other one was recently, a month ago, when I went up to MetLife to see the Rams and the Jets. It was the same temperature it is outside. Imagine sitting in a game, which I didn't, by the way, because I was fortunate enough to be invited up to somebody's box. But imagine sitting outside right now for 3 hours watching a football game. Like, I don't understand how fans do this. And then if you're fans of, I mean, good news for Detroit is they play indoors.
That's right. But Buffalo, Philadelphia, that was brutally cold yesterday.
But, like, if the Bills would have lost that game yesterday, like, this is all I could think about being a Rams fan is you have to wait 9 more months until your team really gets on the field and gets going again.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's just this process again. 1 out of 32 is going to win the whole thing. And, like, for a Detroit fan, they've never won this. And for them to get beat in the first round, like, I can't even imagine being a fan of that fan base.
Like, if I'm Washington and I get put out, the future is very, very bright. If I'm Philadelphia, I've still got my core players there. If I'm Buffalo, as painful as it will be yet again, I've still got my core players there. If I'm Detroit, like, I know Goff's got some years left, but just with my history, I just start to wonder if we can't do it now.
Yeah, but
I mean,
you're
they had
young.
You're young, but you had the
now
one
You're about
seed
to lose both coordinators.
We said that about Buffalo after they obviously changed the overtime rules after that loss to Kansas City. If they can't do it with what they've got right now, and we thought the window had closed coming into this year, and obviously they're 2 games away from winning their first ever championship. But, I mean, how many teams do you feel good about that lost this weekend? Like, I think the Rams are going to be really good, depending if Stafford comes back or not.
Baltimore's going to remain good, but Baltimore's got a playoff problem.
He's 37 years old.
He's 34.
Who's Stafford?
Yeah.
I had him at 37.
No, he's 34.
I'm not going to argue with Lance on that.
Yeah, I'm not either. I had him at 37.
36.
Oh, wow.
In between.
I should have argued with you.
Yeah.
I mean.
But 36 isn't old.
There are reports, I think I saw it at ProFootballTalk.com, that he is evaluating his future.
Yeah.
So it's not a given.
But he's got 2 more years left on it. And the way he's playing right now, like if you're Matt Stafford, like I told you. Outside of, he does have and this is funny, and you really saw it yesterday. If he's trying to get outside the tackles for a handoff, he has trouble getting there.
Yeah, he's not the most fleet of foot. That one run he had where he got hurt, it took him forever to get to the first down.
And it's so funny because I saw that thing open up, and I'm like, because it was like 3rd and 3. I'm like, run the football.
Oh, and it was like,
I know you're not going to believe me, but I actually saw it before it even was snapped. I was like,
I did too.
He's going to have, if he just quarterback draws this, he's going to have all this space.
I think you see that because no defense thinks he's going to quarterback draw.
But it took him a minute to process that. If he would have gone.
I think he easily gets the first down and he doesn't get hurt if his guy is not standing there in his way.
Well, yeah, he did hurt his rib on that play, but then the defensive back also banged his shoulder up.
Yeah. I wonder about Stafford's future. You know that. You're ready to draft quarterback. I feel like the Ravens, at some point, we got to start talking. Is the Ravens window going to close? I mean, that defense never was fantastic until we got towards the end of the year, where it had been. Our buddy Marlon Humphrey has battled injuries all year long.
Still is an all-pro, though.
Oh, it still is an all-pro, but he's battling injury.
One of the most reliable veteran tight ends. You're a 2-point conversion away. And if you don't chase points in that situation, if you don't go for 2 before, then you're able to tie that thing up. I still think Baltimore, just based on organization, they seem to always get it right. But
they feel like they got a playoff problem.
But, yeah, can Lamar Jackson win in the playoffs? Like he had 3 drops yesterday.
That first interception he threw, though, was just the worst pass I've ever seen. He just lofted it downfield right into the safety.
But he just does things that not a lot of guys, do. Like, I can't remember the receiver, but it was
And that's another thing. They were without their best receiver in Zay Flowers.
In the fourth quarter where he's scrambling to his right and he pulls it up and throws it back across his body over the middle of the field, which you're never supposed to do, hits the receiver right in stride, though.
Yeah. That receiver.
Oh, yeah, that was an incredible play.
Yeah. But it was a wonderful play by the receiver. He was running out to the other sideline when Lamar, he spun around on an icy field and came back and made himself available. Works both ways there on that one. I just wonder about their future. You say the Eagles.
Well, they got that core team still together. I mean, Saquon's got
that roster. Yeah. That roster's great.
The offensive line's terrific.
Offensive line is good. We'll see what they can do at quarterback with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's 60 minutes away from being back in his second Super Bowl. So.
Yeah, I love the fact that Hurts is their quarterback, though, because that is their weakness.
I believe that too. And then, Saquon is unbelievable how an organization would ever let him leave, but we know how quickly that can change with running backs. It can change overnight.
It can. With that offensive line, though, and Saquon he's not losing any steps. The guy has been injured a lot, but he's played this year healthy. I mean, I'm buying stock in Saquon moving forward.
Yeah, but if you were, who will be the favorite next year in the NFC? If the Commanders obviously close the deal, they would be.
Yeah.
But I think I go back to the draft last year, and this is the reason that only certain people are really good at evaluating talent. I wanted Bowers so bad when he came off the board to the Raiders. I was so pissed. And Jared Verse, there is not a chance, as good as Bowers was, like Verse in the next couple of years, if he stays healthy, will be unblockable.
Boy, he ran that mouth, but he backed it up.
Oh my gosh!
Unbelievable playoff runs for them on the sack department.
I mean, if I'm Houston, I'm excited too, though, because C.J. Stroud survived that sophomore year. Like, there's a lot of guys that come out and have a rookie year the way Stroud did, and then they can't back it up.
And DeMeco Ryans' defense
he's a defensive genius.
He is a defensive genius.
I mean, he had Kansas City. Now, look, Kansas City still scored some points, but they had to fight for the points, especially in the first half.
Had to get some calls.
Yeah, too. I mean, I'm very excited if I'm those teams. And if I'm Washington, I'm excited. Just the thing that – do you think it's Cliff Kingsbury or –
No, it's not Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, Jaden Daniels. I mean, watch him last year under Denbrock.
You think Daniels he'll be that good under anybody?
I think he will be that good under
So that's what really excites me then, because so many times you get like a Ben Johnson situation at Detroit, and if he leaves, do you ever get that magic back? That's what scares me if I'm a Lions fan.
And Jaden Daniels is one of those guys, outside of injury, like I don't know what could derail him. And for his stature, he doesn't get injured, which is really weird.
He doesn't get flush hits on him.
And he throws a really good football.
Oh, man. He's incredible.
All right, a whole 6 days now until we play again on Sunday. The Final Four, Washington and Philly in the early game, Buffalo and KC again in the nightcap of the championship Sunday coming up, and we'll see who we send to the Super Bowl down in New Orleans. This hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Check out Sterling and the crew there. They're ready to roll with another wonderful week of great food. Brined overnight, cooked to order, piping hot Southern fried chicken, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, hand-cut chicken fingers, and so much more. It's Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. And also our friends right there at Michelson Laser Vision, LT. Tell us about
205-969-8100. That is the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Dr. Mark Michelson, the first to perform the LASIK procedure way back in 1995. Dr. Jen Michelson, they are the best. Conveniently located UAB Highlands. Make the call today, 205-969-8100 or online, michelsonlaservision.com.
Okay, I wanted to ask you guys, back to basketball, and we'll get to the football national championship game again here in a second. Josh Pate with us earlier if you want to go back and watch that on all of our platforms, including audio at Apple and Spotify. Auburn and Tennessee, no midweek game for Auburn. Tennessee does have a home contest with Mississippi State on Tuesday night. But as we get ready for this big game with Tennessee and Auburn, and people are starting to talk about Johni Broome, will he be back, will he not be back? How important is this game really? If Auburn's already right now on Lenardi's number one overall seed list, number one, couldn't improve their stock any. Hard to imagine this team losing enough games coming up to where they fall off the one line. Tennessee just lost. They were a one seed for a second. If you don't get a 100% Johni Broome, don't you rest him? This is just a regular season game,
and
right?
You've shown how good you are without him. And Tennessee's been a pretty erratic team. I think this is massively important for Tennessee.
Home and away, they're totally different basketball
Well, and
teams.
I don't know how Tennessee against this Auburn defense is going to manufacture a lot. Like, I think Tennessee can definitely take Auburn off their A game as far as like scoring the basketball, but on the other side, what Auburn can do defensively to Tennessee.
I mean, Tennessee plays State in the midweek game, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys caught any of that State-Ole Miss game. Did you know that was the first ever – I don't know if it's the first ever between the two or just in Starkville, ranked versus ranked State-Ole Miss basketball game.
And that ended up being the most expensive ticket. You know, we talked about
it was a great atmosphere.
What was the other ticket? Was it Alabama?
Alabama, Kentucky.
Maybe it was Alabama, Kentucky. Yeah. But that ended up being the most expensive ticket, boy, and they got their money's worth.
They did. Great game.
Hey, back to your point, though. I mean, Auburn's 17-1.
Yeah.
Like, you might be able to find 3 more losses. With 4 losses in the SEC with all the ranked teams you're playing, it's going to be really difficult to fall off the one line.
But Tennessee, for them, Jim, listen to this 4-game stretch they're about to play. They host State. That is tomorrow night, ESPN2. They're in Knoxville. They come to Auburn Saturday, game day there, primetime game. They play Kentucky in Knoxville right after Auburn, and then they play Florida in Knoxville right after Kentucky. They at least get 3 out of 4 in Knoxville, but that's a brutal stretch of basketball right there.
Yeah, really tough part in their schedule that could, take them from the one line, already probably going to drop off of that with the loss at Vandy, and then it could start chopping them way down the list in the pecking order in the SEC. And then there's Alabama with their schedule where it is, and if Alabama is able to play up to their standards, there is a chance, if you look at the schedule, they can carry a 7-game win streak into that February 15th home game when Auburn comes to town.
This is about as forgiving a stretch of schedule as Alabama will find this year. Vandy and LSU back-to-back home games. Vandy obviously coming off that win. They've been surprising, but they're still 3-2 in the conference. LSU's 1-4 in the conference. You're at State, that's going to be a difficult place to play all year. You at least get to host Georgia, and then back-to-backs at Arkansas and at Texas, 2 badly disappointing teams. Arkansas might be the worst team in the league right now. This is about as good a stretch as you'll find in the SEC this year. There's only, I'll put it this way, you're only playing 2 ranked teams in a 6-game span.
Potential of a 7-game win streak leading to that big showdown on February 15th with Auburn. Nate Oates talked about the importance of Grant Nelson. LT was mentioning him in the first segment. Here's Nate on what the guy who decided to come back to school and not stay in the NBA draft is doing for the Tide right now.
Thought he was aggressive, got downhill, attacked him. He stepped to the free throw line, made free throws, so he wasn't afraid to attack them. I thought he went, we got him in the pocket a little bit. He was playing great. He had a few too many turnovers in the second half. But even that, he didn't make him passive. Even after he had the turnovers, he kind of split the double team, put the ball out in front of him, made it play like a guard makes, got fouled, got the and one. He's good. We could use that out of him every game. I didn't realize it was a career high. He's more than capable of it. Now he's ends up in foul trouble too much. It happened again tonight with 4. With the way him and Pate were both playing, we need to keep them out of foul trouble because they were both great at that 4 spot, and then both of them can kind of flex down and play some 5 when we need to too. So both versatile, but super happy for Grant.
Yeah, 25 points for him on the weekend. Just to show you how crazy this basketball week was, Auburn is the only unbeaten team left in the SEC. In fact, only Auburn, Vandy, and Missouri survived the week unbeaten. 16 teams, only 3 teams survived the week unbeaten.
Yeah.
Auburn's the last one unbeaten in the league. But in the country, new AP poll out in a moment, 18 of the top 25 lost last week. 18 of the top 25 lost last week. That included West Virginia upsetting Iowa State, Vandy upsetting Tennessee, Gonzaga, they lost twice.
Yep.
That's crazy. When's the last time that has happened? Do you know?
I don't know.
In the regular season, I don't.
Back-to-back regular season losses for them.
I can't even remember.
It may predate Mark Few.
I would say definitely post-January.
Yeah.
But I think what you're seeing is exactly what we saw in college football this year. And I think with the transfer portal, I think you're going to get more of this in every sport.
Creighton also beat UConn. A big win for Creighton there. And UConn lost that could knock them out of the top 25.
Do you think Alabama will jump to 3? I mean, I know they were
Even
1
with
and
the
1.
loss?
Well, I mean, Iowa State lost in front of them. Duke didn't, so Duke's going to jump up to 2.
Duke will be 2.
Auburn 1, Duke 2.
I think they hold their own.
You think they stay at 4? Well, who's going to jump them?
I think they stay at
Iowa
4.
State will stay in front of them?
I mean, Florida could, right?
I guess. I mean, Florida is a 1. I mean,
but they lost to Missouri.
Oh, yeah, they lost to Missouri.
Tennessee lost
now,
behind
Missouri
them.
will be ranked this poll. They should be.
Yeah, they got wins over Kansas and Florida, and then won this weekend.
You see, they were getting 8 votes. 83 was St. John's. That was the first among others getting votes. Yeah, I guess Missouri sneaks in. They should.
They should.
Yeah. When you have 18 teams lose, Brownie, in the top 25.
It's going to shake up a lot.
I mean,
it's one of those weeks you would love to vote in the AP poll. You
I
just
know.
start over.
It'd
I'll
be a
just start
complete
over.
mess.
Yeah. Okay, to the national championship in football after I tell you about our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City is there to help you out. I think I saw on social media, Greg, this day, at least over the weekend, was down on the beach.
Nice.
He and his wife, Andrea, outside of the country, enjoying a little time off. Storm Restoration Roofing, though, he's got his son-in-law, and other people handling everything back here at the homestead business-wise. Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531, 542-3531. A free no-cost roof inspection. He'll do that for you. Get on the roof and give you a little lay of the land and what's happening on top of the roof there. Let you know if you got any problems that are starting to pop up there. He gives you that free no-cost roof inspection. He handles storm damage, roof replacement, helps you with insurance roofing claims as well. And that's, to me, the best thing Greg does, that he takes a very complicated situation when dealing with your insurance department, and he helps you walk through the process. He knows the guys. It helps you out, too. Just so good. It is Greg from Pell City on Facebook and Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531. Brownie, betting line at mybookie.ag for the national championship game, holding at 8.5, about 45 on the total. Is that where we are?
45.5 on the total. The betting line right there at 8.5 right now at mybookie.ag.
Any parlays, player parlays?
I still don't have the player stuff.
Yeah, there's one player prop that is up, and that is it. But I do have side and total available right now at lanceslike.com.
So in this game, if I ask you guys Riley Leonard rushing yards, give me a number you think Riley Leonard has to run the ball tonight.
Has to.
For them to have a chance of winning the game. Because his legs have to be a factor,
Well,
right?
yeah, his legs need to be a factor, but I wonder more if this is like how effective he can be in the red zone once they get there. Like, I would think 70 yards and
I was going to say 60.
Maybe a touchdown.
I thought you were asking how many will he run for. I think he needs to run for 60 to 70, like Lance said. I don't think he can against this defense. If he does, they've got a shot, though.
Yeah, I think more so Jeremiah Love. How healthy is he? What can he do? Because you go back to Dylan Sampson, to Jordan Jones, to Wisner and Blue, combined 30 carries, 82 yards, and 0 touchdowns for those 4 running backs through 3 games on that Ohio State defense.
And are those good running backs?
Those are very good running backs.
Yeah. Bo Collins is going to come back. He says he's close to 100% the receiver for them. How many points do you think Notre Dame can muster, and how much would it take to win the game tonight?
I think if Notre Dame, and they've scored 21 in all 3 games, I think if they can score 21 plus, they've got a shot.
I think the game's going to be 35-14. I mean, I think if they could get to 24, that would change things. I just don't see how they get there. If they get to 21, 24 points, I think it will require a non-offensive touchdown.
This is
6, scoop and score, punt return, something like that.
I think Al Golden's defense is really good. I will still stick with it. I think Ohio State and Jim Knowles has got the better defense. And I go back to the best offense that they've seen, even better than the 3 teams they played in the postseason, Indiana, Georgia, Penn State, was USC's. And USC on that final regular season game scored 35 and had inside the red zone 2 pick sixes, which really inflated that. So that game could have gone either way. So I'm just saying if USC can put 35 and should have put more on them, I don't know what the Jeremiah Smith total receiving yards is going to be. I'm going to say it's around 80, but bang that over.
Yeah, especially coming off a game where he had 3 receiving yards. He's not going to do that back-to-back games.
No.
17.5 is Notre Dame's team total. 27.5 is Ohio State's. So that's why I would say Notre Dame, I think, would probably have to get to 24 or so to have a shot at winning this game.
It seems like you continue to paint a possibility of this being a entertaining game tonight. Is that unfair? Am I not reading you correctly?
I mean, I don't think it will be, but it could.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the fact that Notre Dame's defense is that good, if Riley Leonard doesn't, turn the football over, plays clean football, then I think it could be really good. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think, a lot of times we will see in a championship situation, teams play their best football. I think Ohio State's going to play their best game of the year.
Ohio State will?
Yep.
Well, that's bad news for Notre Dame because we've seen those first two games in the playoffs are probably their best games of the year. The Oregon game certainly was. That's as good as they could play.
Oh, yeah.
If they play better than the Rose Bowl.
If they get that start that they had in Pasadena.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the biggest problem for Notre Dame. Like Notre Dame, they're a team that obviously wants to run the football. They play great defense. But if they get down, them trying to play from behind could absolutely be a disaster.
I would just say, Jim, if they play the way they did in the Rose Bowl, the only teams beating Ohio State play on Sunday. So I don't see a path for Notre Dame doing it.
Yeah, I'd love to see the buzz in the chat room, mybookie.ag in the chat room over there. Do they feel the same way, Brownie? You've been watching them all the whole show. Do they feel like it's Ohio State and a blowout tonight, or is there a lot of love for Notre Dame over there?
Well, there's love for Notre Dame. Everybody's, not everybody. A lot of people in the mybookie.ag chat room are pulling for Notre Dame, but the belief is it's going to be an Ohio State blowout.
Yeah, I would think most people were pulling for TCU a couple of years ago.
Probably so. They knew better than that. You got a better feeling, I think, that Notre Dame can hang in than TCU.
I mean, look, this is a Notre Dame team that has won 13 consecutive games. They are red hot. Their defense is that good. They've got a veteran quarterback. They've got a coach that in this situation, he's 14-5 against top 25s. He's 7-0 this year. And Ryan Day, again, has all of the pressure on him. So is there a chance that Ryan Day, much like they did against Michigan, plays scared? I don't think so. But that could be a factor, too.
Early score from Notre Dame could force them into a little bit of a nervous shell. Cut number 6, Tyler, if you will. Here's Ryan Day talking about the mentality as they get ready to play the national championship game tonight, 6:30 on ESPN.
I think as coaches, we get too much of the attention a lot of times. This journey for us has been about our players, our staff, our coaches. They're the ones who are on the field. They're the ones playing. And they're the ones, there's a bunch of guys that decided to forego an opportunity to go to the NFL or whatever it was, other schools, to come back, to have this opportunity to chase this goal. And right now the focus is on finishing, the mission of winning the championship.
Yeah, so that's Ohio State tonight, the heavy favorites in our college football national championship. One more note to make here on college football before we take our next break after LT tells us about our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop, great place to pick up a couple of steaks to watch the game tonight. They've got the fantastic pre-made dishes. They do it all in-house, from the incredible lasagna, chorizo, Italian sausages, the Duroc pork chop. You pick up all of that. And also there's great deli sandwiches for lunch or dinner, a great selection of fine wines and desserts. It's a one-stop dinner shop, rare quality, well-done service, 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Get in, see Jim and that great staff. Tell them the next round sent you. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
It is crazy to think that, as Josh Pate earlier told us, that they're replacing Dallas with Tampa coming up a little bit later on in the college football rotation for what would be January of 2029, the end of the 2028 season. Next year it's Miami, then it's Las Vegas, then it's New Orleans, Tampa, Dallas, and then back to Miami in 30-30 for your the 30-30 season, January of 30-31 for your national championship games in the immediate future there. A lot of Miami, a lot of love for Hard Rock and down in South Florida. Weather-induced there on the trip out there. Obviously, no Pasadena mentioned there. They're settling for the Rose Bowl and the quarterfinal games right now, if that stays that situation. But there is a discussion.
What is the fascination with Tampa, though? And I'm being serious about
I really
that.
don't know.
Because Tampa is coin flip whether or not you get cold weather or not.
Yeah, I mean, we
it's
had
far
terrible
up north, yeah.
We had terrible weather when we were down there for Bama and Clemson. So it's not weather related. It's not like Miami where you're guaranteed really good weather.
Now, that was historic cold for the time we were in Tampa. All the locals were saying
but
that
Tampa's
it's
done
never
multiple
this cold.
Super Bowls.
I know,
So, like,
they've got another one coming up.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
I mean, it's a Florida city, but that's about, I mean, the beaches aren't even particularly good, are they?
You don't spend a lot of time on those beaches over there. No.
Yeah, I mean, I make sure this time of year either you got a dome or it is a tropical city.
Yeah. Do you ever hear anybody say, "Where are you guys going for vacation this summer?" Tampa. Oh, really?
We have St. Pete, Clearwater out in that area.
I
right?
guess. I mean, I never hear people say
but
that.
that's not where I go. No.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just a Buccaneers fan because I hated the Steelers and the Cowboys. But Tampa's in the mix there. They did have a discussion, and they plan on continuing to discuss this, but there was buzz in the room about moving the quarterfinal games in the college football playoffs on campus. And the committee, when they met this weekend, said they wanted, when they get together again in May, to have more information and wanted to have that as a big talking point on moving round 2, the quarterfinals of the playoffs, on campus.
I think they will, and then you got to figure out these buys. Do people really want the buys?
I mean, as long as you got 12, you got to have buys. That's the only way around it.
Yeah, I know. That's what
I know.
But if you go to 14 or 16,
there's a lot of people in those rooms that are old enough though that the bowl games mean a lot to them. So I hope they're able to look past that and put it on campus.
Yeah, I did enjoy January 1st though this year. I thought it was a great day of college football.
You know what's interesting? Do you think Notre Dame beats Georgia in Athens this year?
No,
I don't either. I mean, that just shows you how important that was to have those games off campus. Like I don't
know.
I don't think they do. I don't think Notre Dame beats Georgia.
I
in
don't
Athens.
think so.
I don't know. In that game, the way it played out,
that would have been. Now, keep in mind it was delayed because of the terrorist attack, but in theory, that would have been a Saturday night game in Athens. I don't. See
home field's so important. Let's just go with yesterday's games. If both those games are played neutral site, I think both Baltimore and the Rams win.
I think you're probably right. I think home field was massive in the NFL probably all weekend long, and I think it was huge.
But both those had weather. I mean, there would have been no weather in Athens.
It would have been cool, but nothing that Notre Dame couldn't.
Yeah, that is the unfortunate thing is like we thought we were going to see that factor in college football, what we saw yesterday in the NFL.
Well, it was very cold for Tennessee, cold and windy. I mean, that was not a great desire in Columbus.
I don't think there's any way Ohio State boat races Oregon the way they did. It's hard for me to say Ohio State wouldn't have won the game in Eugene. But I don't think they would have boat raced them the way they did. That would have been a much more competitive game.
So on January 1st, you'd rather those games be lined up where it is on campus, boom, boom, and boom.
Yeah, I would too.
I do. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be on January 1st, but if that's when they fall, it's when they fall. I think they've played them on January 1st because that's when the bowl games are. You'll get a better TV audience on January 1st.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would have had Texas at Tempe, right?
It would have been Texas in Tempe.
Texas would have won that game. It wouldn't have been that way if you'd have gotten the seeding right, but you didn't have the seeding right.
Like you say Texas would have won that game.
Well, that's true. They barely won it in overtime.
Double overtime.
Right.
And I think more important was, and we brought this up weeks before, Arizona State was one of those teams that didn't need a bye. They were clicking, and it took them so long to get into the rhythm of that game, really into the second half.
Ohio State would have been in Eugene, not in Pasadena.
Again, I think they probably still win that game. They almost did the first go-around. I don't think it would have been the boat race.
Yeah.
Penn State, Boise. I mean, that's a far more interesting game in Boise. You got to give me that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Penn State probably still wins, but there's no guarantee of that. To me, it's better games on campus, better atmospheres.
I like the January 1st this year.
College football's an on-campus game.
Yeah, well, you say that, but it has always been bowl games too.
I think they're better on campus. I think games are better on campus in college football.
When we come back, LT has trash for us today and some final thoughts on the championship game happening tonight. As we head to break here, I'll tell you former Auburn quarterback Holden Geriner ends up at Texas State. And a lot of movement in coaching. Bob Diaco, remember that name?
I do remember the name Bob Diaco.
Bob Diaco is the linebacker coach now at North Carolina, one-time LSU, Notre Dame, and Nebraska defensive coordinator, joining Bill Belichick there. And Rob Ryan is the new linebacker coach at USC.
Well, his dad, Anthony Lynn, or I should say DeAnton Lynn's dad, Anthony Lynn, used to coach for Rex Ryan. And it's so funny because Rob gets hired, and I heard Rex yesterday leading up to the game hyping up Anthony Lynn to be the next Dallas Cowboys head coach. Hey, you help my brother out. I've got this platform. I'm going to hype you up.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. Trash on the other side. This is The Next Round.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out TheBarnAuburn.com and CoverCrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Roback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Roback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at roback.com.
Back with you on The Next Round as we continue on today. Trash it in just a second. One other interesting college football note as we get ready for tonight's national championship game. Home team, dark blue, I guess, for Notre Dame is what they're going with. The championship striped whites that they only wear in a championship game for Ohio State in the contest. Ross Dellinger is already inside the stadium over there. Pictures are coming out from inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I remember how long these championship days are, Brown. We'd be wrapping up.
Yep.
Last one, semifinals, we were wrapping up in Pasadena and then rushing to get to the stadium, swinging by In-N-Out Burger and getting over there. It ends up being a very quick, full day to get to the stadium and then a lot of waiting.
Boy, do y'all remember how long it took us to get into Pasadena last year?
Yeah, that was you
crap.
guys remember I was like, I'm staying this entire game.
Yeah.
And then when we got on that one road, I was like, I am not staying this entire game.
It's like, I am not sitting
and what I didn't realize, we were going to have to come back and get you guys. If I would have known that, I would have stayed.
You didn't come back.
We came and found you.
No, we did.
Not all the way into the stadium, though.
Dude, I had to leave Washington, Texas, why I was so pissed off in the middle of that game to come pick you guys up.
Yeah, in downtown Pasadena. We got out of the stadium.
But I still had to leave. You guys couldn't get a ride anywhere.
We couldn't.
Yeah, well,
No, you could not get out of the
We had
joint.
to stand in long shuttle lines to get out of the stadium to downtown Pasadena. It was no.
I told Maddie we need to act. This is where you act like the cell phone. We lost. We don't have any. The battery's dead.
It's a good friend. Thank you, Lance.
I'll keep that in mind.
I came and got you guys.
You could have
It's
stayed.
such a
You could have
giver.
stayed. I think we even said that. You could have
No.
stayed. I was all about us taking an Uber from
Y'all
there,
were
going
so
somewhere.
frustrated because y'all could not get anywhere out of that
You
parking
could
lot.
not. It was. I was frustrated. I will not lie. I'm
Yeah,
frustrated.
that place, as cool as it is, and I think everybody should visit it once, it is a pain in the ass to get in and out.
Everybody that says it should be the permanent host of the national
crazy.
championship game doesn't deal with what the normal fan
Right.
deals with.
Yeah.
And for once, we had to see what the normal fan deals with, and I was like, I don't see how people do this.
Yeah, Klatt and Kirk Herbstreit can say that all they want because they drive, they get a car service in and out, police escort.
That's right. Look at Scott showing the video of you leaving at halftime. What were you saying? Like, this Michigan fan behind me was unbearable.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
What a beautiful day.
Hey, what a
it was
not only
gorgeous.
great day, great game. Found a really cool brewery though, like 5 minutes outside of there.
Yep.
It is
It's
a
got a lot going
fantastic
for it.
place.
It has got a lot going for it. It is cool around the stadium. It's beautiful weather, but it should never, ever, ever be the permanent host of the national championship game.
Los Angeles Dodgers get Roki Sasaki, the 23-year-old flamethrower in free agency. They also picked up one of the best relievers in baseball, Tanner Scott, over the weekend. 4 years, $72 million. Just for you Braves fans, as we get ready, I think it's like 20 days until spring training, what you've got to go through just to make it to the World Series. Did the Dodgers win it all last year?
Yep.
How soon we forget.
They've got 5 aces in their rotation, considered to be aces in their rotation.
Dude, the bullpen, the back end of the bullpen is crazy.
The back end of the bullpen includes 4 All-Stars, and they have 3 MVPs in their batting order.
Rich get
5
richer, man.
5 aces, a back end of the bullpen that is full of 4 All-Stars and 3 MVPs in your batting order.
I can't remember who I saw say this, Lance, but somebody over the weekend said this may go down as the greatest pitching rotation of all time. Now, I don't know what the line to beat is
If
on
they
that.
stay healthy and
Yeah, well, if
Sasaki
they-
ends
You
up
know
being what
what's
he's supposed to be.
crazy is poor Trevor Bauer is never going to get to pitch in the bigs again, and that guy is completely dominating Japan right now. Can you imagine if he was still pitching with them?
I know.
But like their luxury tax payroll is estimated to be $375 million. That is 70 more than the next team, which is Philadelphia Phillies.
Our friends at Dr. B bringing you those numbers there. Tell us about Dr. B.
Best to the business. Had an opportunity to sit down with Dr. B on Friday. We've got new stuff we're going to be telling you guys about. Bottom line is, if you're thinning out, though, be preemptive. Dr. Beckenstein, his great staff, call them, 205-319-0316. Genetic testing, custom compounding, the transdermal infusion, AI hair analysis. And right now, T3 has that new test that is so easy, painless, and affordable. Takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. Again, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. There are over 10 categories of agents they can use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom the compound these agents for you in pill or topical forms. There's so many people out there that are ordering Hims and online products. They don't even know if they'll work. Stop wasting your money and critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come to Dr. B. Find out what will work for you. 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Kelly O'Donnell, who covers the White House for NBC, reported moments ago that the inauguration has been moved inside. It's inside the Capitol Rotunda, but there is no designated survivor today. And she says, we haven't been told why, but no one has appointed a designated survivor. I don't know if y'all ever watched the show.
I did not. With Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah.
But did it make it a season?
I have no earthly
I would
idea.
imagine there is somebody who's not there. She's reporting that there is nobody that...
There's no official designated survivor.
Yeah.
Nobody that's designated, if this all goes bad, you're our president.
Yeah, there's no official one, but there is somebody is outside of that room right now that would take charge.
That's scary.
It may be Nick Saban. I don't know.
College football commissioner. I'm going to be president of the United States.
It may be Nick Saban.
He can do it.
Oh, I would. Listen, it's a pretty low bar right now.
I see Carrie Underwood singing right now at the inauguration.
Yeah.
And I saw where she was just completely torched this last week about
dog.
people that are like,
yeah,
we're never going to listen to you again. I cannot believe you're performing.
Yeah, I hate it that it's got that way.
I don't want to get into this discussion.
No, but isn't this like meeting the president? Like if I was invited to meet the president, I don't care who the president is. I want to meet the president. If you're invited to sing at an inauguration, you typically say right?
Yeah, you do. I just we are on platforms. We obviously get exposed to. Okay, so if there's 1,000 videos of people torching Carrie Underwood, there's 1,000 videos in your feed. That is such a small fraction of Americans.
Well, Clay is the one that often says this on the show. We get caught up thinking social media is a reflection of actual America, and it is not. Yeah. It is a very small percentage of people that are actually on it.
Just because there's 1,000 different things in your timeline is not a reflection of what really is going on.
When you're the one that's in the barrel, you can feel like it is.
Yeah. It's Trash Time, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. Let's hit it.
So, what was your inspiration for tonight? Be honest with me and go into detail.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to remind you it's always buying season, and they are here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You get more information, go to their website, mortgageright.com. You can call that Highway 280 office, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. So, Kesha, are you all fans of Kesha?
I liked her at one point. Yeah, it's been a while since she had a song I liked.
Like all of Pitbull's collabs, I like her part in Timber.
Okay.
That's my favorite Kesha performance.
Well, it's the only song I can name, yes.
Poking fun at the upcoming TikTok ban following the Supreme Court's decision to allow the TikTok ban to go into effect on Sunday. 37-year-old singer-songwriter shared an Instagram post joking that her fans will still have a TikTok to listen to. She included the video of herself wearing a black hoodie and looking at the camera as the chorus of her popular song TikTok.
The best I've ever seen her look.
In the background over the video, she wrote, "TikTok may be temporary, but TikTok is forever."
Yeah.
Now, you guys remember the hit single back in 2010, spent 9 weeks in the #1 spot on the Billboard Top 100. In the years since, though...
what year was that, 2010?
2010.
Yeah, that was the Auburn... I remember that being popular driving back from when Auburn was playing Kentucky. That was the song that was on the radio right after the game.
So there is a line in the song that says, "Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy." While performing at Coachella, she debuted new lyrics saying, "Wake up in the morning feeling like F. P. Diddy." And she noted the new lyric change is going to be permanent. She's working on that. So there you go. Working hard.
I'm glad she's still working.
So there appears to be footage of a Russian influencer and crypto tycoon tossing his baby son into a deep snowdrift for online likes and has led to a court and a warrant for his arrest.
Oh, no.
Now, the distressing footage of Sergey Canseco, who is known as Mr. Thank You, is a self-described actor, singer, influencer, and entrepreneur with 46.6 million followers on Instagram. What does that pay you, by the way?
A lot. 46.6 million. I mean, I don't know exactly what that would equate to, but he's making a lot.
Yeah,
he's making a lot.
Now, the clip quickly went viral. The influencer claims he actually used a dummy child in clever editing to not put his son in danger. Do you guys believe this?
Do not.
That looks like a son. It looks too cold to edit, by the way.
Yeah. But see, at that point, it's starting to look like a doll at that point, yes.
Well, even the trees don't really look real, do they?
I mean, he is in Russia. Of course, he was out in short sleeves.
Now, the arrest warrant was issued. City of Moscow, which has also ordered his assets in Russia to be frozen. Criminal intent was not completed due to the child's fall being softened by the snow cover. Russian authorities have ordered that the influencer be extradited to Russia to face charges. They also ordered that he be detained for 2 months from the moment he arrives on Russian soil. You can't do the same things over there that you can do here.
You cannot, but let me just ask this question and think about this reasonably, if you will. Is there any difference in throwing your kid in that massive amount of snow and throwing your kid in a pool?
No.
No.
And I was about to say this. If you live in those extremes right there, how many people not on video over the years have had a great time of tossing kids into the snowdrift?
Well, here's
and pulling them
the
out,
difference, though. The only thing I would say is under that snow could be a rock. There could be a busted bottle, glass bottle. There could be
a
something
very
there.
big
If it's on his property and he knows what's there. But
Yeah.
also when you throw your kid into a lake, there could be a python or a
Water moccasin.
Brown
Probably
set
not
a
a
pool.
python.
But Jack used to love when I would throw him in the pool back in the day, but you can see the clear. Like, I would assume there's a lot of bears in Russia. What if there's a bear trap? He landed right in the middle of the bear trap. Kid's cut in half.
I think a rock's more likely. I saw a similar video when it was snowing real bad over here. Some guy had picked up his kid and was using him to wipe off his windshield, wipe all the snow off. But
I saw that video too. Yeah.
Now are we
That's a
doing
lot different.
stupid stuff because there are video cameras and we have
100%.
social media?
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's for internet fam.
Yeah, but people get pissed off. You get your kid to get you a beer now. I mean, it's a different world.
Who gets upset with that?
Oh, I'm sure. Like if I did a video, if I had
It
to
sounded like he had some experience or knew somebody.
I thought you'd see the
You
story.
really don't think if I posted like a 4 or 5 year old run into the fridge to get a beer and brought it back to me?
It's what we just talked about. People get upset about everything. You could put anything you want on the internet and people are going to get upset about it.
I've told the story a million times. It was one of my favorite memories of my grandfather, who sadly died when I was 13. He was everything to me. But when he would tell me when he was working in the garden to run and get him the beer, I thought it was the most important job in the world.
Didn't he tell you, don't let Granny see you?
Don't let Nanny see it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You guys tell me how you feel about this. 2 mothers from North Houston are questioning a policy at the Herrera Elementary School that charges parents $1 per minute if their kids are picked up late. Now, the parents are seeking clarification on whether the school is authorized to impose such fees. While a $1 per minute late fee is not unusual in daycare or after-school programs, applying this policy to regular school dismissal times is something the parents say they have never encountered. One parent whose child and nephew attend Herrera Elementary on the north side said she was given a form outlining the policy after picking up the kid late one day. According to the document, student dismissal is at 3 o'clock and late fees apply after 3:30 p.m. Now, the form states student dismissal is at 3 p.m. as outlined in their handbook. Late fees will be charged to families remaining after 3:30. Charge is $1 per minute for 2 kids picked up 31 minutes late. This particular person was charged $62.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're making somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody else has got a job of taking care of your kids.
We need to, this policy needs to be clear beforehand, but I don't have a problem with the policy as a whole.
Yeah, but is there a chance it was clear and this person just didn't pay attention to it?
There is absolutely that chance.
Yeah,
it's one of the million
100%.
things you sign and your kid takes back in the red folder.
Now, tell me why are you 62 minutes late?
Well, okay,
if
so
there was something that had happened and it's a one-off.
Yeah.
But I'm betting here, if we delved into the story a little bit, this is a chronic late problem.
And I think I brought this up with you guys off the air last week. I had to do carpool 1 or 2 days last week, and it literally is 1 hour, just one way on carpool.
It's not for the faint of
Such
heart.
a pain in the ass. And this is what this parent points out. Quote, even if you're on time, pickup line will make it hard for most parents to get their kids before 3:30.
Yeah, but I'm sure they take it into account. All right, the pickup line has cleared out. We've emptied out the pickup line. We're starting the clock on the late fees now.
I would agree.
I mean, if
100%.
they're not doing that, they need to change, obviously. But once the pickup line's cleared out, I mean, somebody's got to keep your kid, right? And that person's got a job.
Right.
They're not able to do their job all the way because of your kid. Now, if a parent, I would have to say, if a parent calls the kid's teacher and is like, I have got a massive issue at work.
There's a wreck on I-65.
Almost any teacher's going to say, take your time, I'll take care of Johnny. Yeah, we got it. I'm sure there's a lack of communication.
We would just scatter after school. Like
yeah.
I remember in middle school, we would go to the rec center, which was up the street, and play basketball all afternoon. But
we hit the bikes as soon as we got home. Everybody got on their bike. We had a predetermined meeting point, and then that was till sundown.
Florida man reportedly told law enforcement officials that he was smuggling marijuana into the Virgin Islands as a way to dispose of a shop's old inventory. Now, according to court documents, Customs and Border Protection officers at the Cyril E. King Airport noticed something unusual about 3 suitcases coming off a Spirit Airlines flight on Monday. X-ray screening of the luggage revealed anomalies inside of the suitcases. According to authorities, bags tagged with the name Carl DeLande were placed on the baggage claim carousel, where officers waited to see who would come to collect them. They approached the man who retrieved the luggage as he reportedly provided them with a Florida's driver's license. The officers then escorted him in the suitcases to the secondary screening area for further inspection. When the 3 pieces of luggage were opened, officers reportedly discovered they all contained several vacuum-sealed packages, along with several small glass bottles. Now, the packages, 60 in total, were found to consist of a green leafy substance, which had reportedly been placed inside of transparent plastic bags, wrapped in paper plates, then gift-wrapped with Christmas paper, before finally being vacuum-sealed into the outer bag. Glass bottles contained a brown substance. Both the vacuum-sealed plant material and the substance in the jars returned positive results for marijuana. All told, officials said the suitcases, which DeLende reportedly claimed as his own, said he packed himself, contained over 26 kilograms of marijuana and over 4 kilograms of THC crumbles, as he called the brown substance.
Is that intent to distribute? Is that what we probably call that when he gets arrested?
Now, according to the criminal complaint, he also admitted to bringing marijuana on 2 previous occasions, 2024, about 5 pounds worth. He was then arrested and charged with possession of marijuana, intent to distribute.
Yeah, there you go. Intent to distribute. That's what's going to get
When's
you
the
every
last time you've, they give you that little, your bag check ticket when you check your bags at the airport when you go to your destination?
Never used it.
When's the last time you've ever had anybody stand next to to make sure you had to show your ticket to get out?
Yeah.
Never.
I always assume that's in case your luggage gets lost. In which case, you guys have dealt with that. Thank God I've never had my luggage get lost, but I don't think they say, do you have the little ticket?
The last, and I thought I was going to have to use it because the last time I flew was back from New York, and so there was a delay in New York, so missed my flight in Atlanta, so I had to get a rental in Atlanta, so my bag was already in Birmingham. Didn't get to Birmingham till night. I had my little tag. They didn't even ask for it. Yeah. And I got there, and, they've got that one little luggage room off to the side.
Yeah.
And my bag was broken. I think I told you guys. I did a bad job of packing. I had to buy a new suitcase the morning I left, and the airline had busted the suitcase.
I remember.
But they did not ask for the tag.
About 8 years ago, I landed in New York at LaGuardia, and I was confused. I had to fiddle in my pocket. Thank God I still had them. They're like, "Sir, I need to see your ID and make sure that those are your bags." And I was like, "Okay." Never had this happen before. Yeah. I had to show them those little tags in my driver's license.
How about
moved on.
Several years ago, my luggage tag is just our business card laminated. So it's got the show logo and all on it, name, cell number, and all that. We get to our destination. I can't remember where we were going. I can't remember what trip it was. Open the bag, and there's a note in there from a TSA agent that says, "Hey, love the show."
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Inside the bag.
Inside the bag.
Yeah.
You had done the old in-bag inspection.
That is Trash on the Table, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, again, if you're looking for your first home or your final home, our friends at Mortgage Right, they are there to help. 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
All right, and this hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken. Our dash to the end here. Champy's Chicken, a little easy, quick lunch for you today on Highway 119 in Alabaster. All the wonderful sides you get with a Southern meal. The cheese, sausage, and pickle plates, a great appetizer. So, too, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, made from scratch desserts, including Mississippi mud pie. The headliners always the great Southern fried chicken that's brined overnight, hand-cut chicken fingers, the unbelievable po' boys, chicken on a stick, and so much more. It's all with Sterling and the guys. Highway 119 in Alabaster, champy'schicken.com, champy'schicken.com. All right, tomorrow, when we gather back and we're talking about the national championship game, I don't want a creative headline, but what will we be talking about tomorrow morning, in your opinion? You want to go first, LT?
Yeah, it's fine. Ryan Day's life has changed. He's finally won that national championship that eluded him for not so many years because he's only been coaching for what? He's been the head coach 4 years now?
6 years, maybe?
6 years, whatever it is. But I think he's going to be in that exclusive club of having a national championship. If it flips the other way, boy, it's a much bigger deal to me if Notre Dame wins a national championship.
Well, I agree because Marcus Freeman's stock is already the biggest gainer in this entire playoff. If he adds a national championship to it, because you can legitimately ask the question, is Notre Dame back on the national scene as a national championship contender? If they can beat this Ohio State team and run through the playoffs the way they did, having beaten one-loss Indiana, SEC champion Georgia, Big Ten runner-up Penn State, and Ohio State, they can beat those 4 straight. Where are they going, right? I mean, I think Notre Dame all of a sudden becomes a national contender every year under Marcus Freeman.
Steve Sarkisian gets a 7-year contract, $10.6 million a year as the starting point, third highest paid coach in college football. Why is Sark getting paid again, you think? Do you think there was some buzz with NFL teams?
I We brought this up a couple of weeks ago when you started to hear, hey, Jerry Jones might want to talk to Sark. It was all about leverage and getting more money. And look, Sark did have a good year. Not a great year. I mean, because you look back at who he beat, and, best win was maybe Michigan or Vanderbilt. But they did play for the SEC. They did win a couple of playoff games, so I'm not surprised he got a raise at all.
The initial report said after I think it was refusing to talk to two NFL teams or declining an interview with two NFL teams. So the reports from the Austin side were that two NFL teams came after Sark. One would have to believe one of them is Dallas. I don't know who you guys think the other one would be. Vegas?
Why not the Bears? We got Caleb Williams, play designer, yeah.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. But one of the other openings, at least according to the reports, they came after Sark too. He declined to talk to him and instead parlayed it into a big contract extension.
Yeah, they keep his general manager as well. Brandon Harris signs a new contract with Sark there. I'll save this discussion for tomorrow, but think about it overnight. How long do you think Arch Manning is QB1 at Texas? You think he's one and done? Because early projections for the NFL draft, you get to Arch Manning's name pretty darn quick in the 2026 NFL draft. All right, one more college football game to go. Tonight in the ATL, Ohio State the favorite against Notre Dame. Get your plays at lanceslock.com. And we're back with you tomorrow with reaction of the game at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.